It all began back in August. Burnley's season had started with a shock defeat at Sheffield Wednesday. The Carling Cup offered a welcome distraction, a chance to get the team performing. First up, a trip to Gig Lane, Bury.
After such a great pre-season, we felt we were very fit and we were doing well. To come to the Sheffield Wednesday game and play so poorly, we were so disappointed that we felt the Bury game was a starting block to sort of push on and show what we were capable of for the entire season.
We had a game against Sheffield Wednesday that it was my first game of the season, and we lost 4-1. And to be honest, it was a bit of a shock because I thought, oh God, it's going to be a tough season. But I think that made us knuckle down a bit.
And we just felt Bury was a start to get in a winning streak and hopefully then push on with the league. But we certainly wouldn't think that it was going to end up in a sort of semi-final.
It was one of my first games of signing to the club, and obviously they was the underdogs then, so we knew it was going to be hard. But we went out then, I think we set our season from the early games, which we planned to do.
We were obviously optimistic of a good run in the Cup. You know, it doesn't really matter whether it's Carling Cup, FA Cup or League, you want to be in some kind of form.
You know, the first step was the win at Bury in the Carling Cup in the very first round, and you know, very solid performance, 2 terrific goals, and you're on your way all of a sudden.
Right, let's just pop down into the home dugout. Well, that win at Bury was probably the first positive note in a season that would be full of them. League form started to pick up. By the time high-flying Oldham arrived here at Turf Moor in the Carling Cup, Burnley were on the road to recovery.
They were league leaders at the time, and we knew we were in for a hard task there. But the year before, we were actually playing them at home as well, and they beat them 3-0 as well. So yeah, we knew we were in for a tough run there because well, after the first couple of games, it didn't go too well. You know, Sheffield Wednesday away and then Ipswich at home. So the main thing for us was just to keep a clean sheet and we'll see what we could do down the end.
The top of the league, John Sheridan got them playing some lovely stuff. You know, very tough game, but they're comfortably dispatched in the end.
Nice feet from Chris Eagles, comes away from his man, looks for Elliott, super ball. If Elliott can keep this in play, let's see who's in the middle. We've got a cross in here, looking deep towards the far post. Header on target, good goal, super goal. Chris McCann with the header, super finish. Elliott for Eagles, comes inside nicely Eagles, got away from one. This is what you want to see, him running through the middle. It's a super run from Eagles, can he finish it? It's got a deflection, might still fall for Burnley. It has, Patterson's finished it. Super run from Chris Eagles. Just over 10 minutes left in this. Burnley leading by 2 goals to 0. McCann and Patterson the scorers. This might break here for Johnson. Might still fall for Patterson. Real chance, he scored. Super finish. Loves this competition. Left foot strike past the keeper. It's Burnley 3, Oldham Athletic 0. Martin Patterson, 5th of the season, and surely that's game over.
I always believed in a certain style of football that, as a manager, that I wanted to bring to any football club, and I think, you know, we're slowly getting there. We want to get the ball down, we want to pass and move. I always felt, being a striker, the best sight in football was the ball hitting the back of the net. Second to that, I really believe that people get excited when wingers go by fullbacks and get to the byline. So we play with 2 wingers at each and every opportunity we can, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to entertain, we're trying to win games, but within that we're trying to embrace the fans in that philosophy.
Wins against Bury and Oldham meant that so far the Carling Cup had been a decidedly Lancastrian affair for Burnley. That was about to change in a very big way. Premier Division Fulham were next out of the hat. Under Roy Hodgson, Fulham were a very difficult side to beat. Their visit to Turf Moor was a long old night with a dramatic twist in the tale.
Before the Fulham game, we sort of thought if we can play to our potential, and they had a slightly weakened team, we knew we could win the game.
Yeah, it was a good game, really good game. We did play really well, and we took the game to them, put them under pressure and to ask them questions, and I think we've done that well throughout the whole competition, but Fulham was probably the turning point where we thought, we have a good chance here.
Looks sharp here for Patterson. Patterson doing well, gets it back to Duff. There's Johnson in the middle, wanted it, ball inside, it's a nice ball for Chris McCann, onto Johnson. That's a super ball for Patterson, oh, and a left foot shot beyond the target. What a great pass from Gudjonsson. Ball forward from Blake. He'll just run on, but Patterson keeps it in play. He's a willing runner. Burnley need to get him in the middle here. Patterson was on his own for a moment. He'll collect it. Ball inside. It's a nice ball. Finds Chris McCann. Might fancy a crack here. Oh, it's a good effort. Narrowly wide. Best chance of the game. Here's Blake. Swings it back inside. Shot from McCann. Dragged it wide. Eagles will just lay it down this left-hand side. See Jordan get a ball in. There's an arm aloft in the middle. Might have been offside. Chris McCann, but he'll win the header. Might have been touch and go, but he won the header, but into the arms of the keeper.
We always knew it was going to be a really tough game, playing against the Premier League opposition and Fulham, like a good side. And we came here, we got on top of them early. We had a couple of chances to score, but with Jay coming on the last couple of minutes, it was fantastic for a young boy, especially a local lad as well.
Fulham came with they made a few changes, and I think they probably underestimated Burnley on the night. Burnley played their football as they do, as Fulham found out at Swansea the other week. There's some terrific passing sides in the Championship, and it looked like it was itching towards extra time until Jay Rodriguez, a fantastic moment. Burnley boy, Bardon High School pupil, and such a fabulously composed finish.
Colwell will come forward. Is there a sting in the tail here? Alexander back to Colwell. Here to Eagles, turns, does well, gets away from one, feeds the ball through, real chance here for Burnley, and it's a chance for Rodriguez, he's finished it! Oh, what a start to his Burnley career! Jay Rodriguez took it round the keeper, slotted it home, is that the winner? What a pass from Chris Eagles, and Jay Rodriguez has opened the scoring with 2 minutes left. Burnley 1, Fulham 0.
I think he came on for 86th minute or something like that. So I just expected hopefully we were going to go to extra time, and once it popped up, I just really didn't realise what I did until after I kicked off again. And I was like, Jesus, yeah, brilliant.
So it took a bit of a while to sink in, did it?
Oh yeah. After that I got home and I watched it back a few times, and I thought I couldn't believe it. I was just buzzing about it.
It was so important for young Jay to get his first goal, and he's a big member of the squad and a great kid, and to come on and take the goal so comfortably was fantastic.
You still get those footballing highs at moments like that?
Oh, definitely. It was, I was absolutely buzzing when he scored because I thought it was going into extra time. So it's brilliant. You don't lose that feeling of when your team scores or winning games. So it's great to still be involved in that.
Now, when Manchester United beat Chelsea to win the Champions League final in Moscow, I wouldn't think too many Burnley fans would have imagined the Clarets would be in the same position 6 months later. That match at Stamford Bridge will live long in the memory. Big Phil Scolari's Chelsea multi-millionaires were massive odds-on favourites, but Owen Coyle's team were playing some great football and could not be underestimated.
There hasn't been an away following like that since they won at Wembley 15 years ago. Literally on the way down, cars with the scarves streaming out of windows. You'd stop at the service station and there were people selling scarves, and there was just claret and blue everywhere you went. It was on the tube, on the way to the ground. It was a sea of claret and blue. It was fantastic to see.
Realistically speaking, we obviously knew that certain things had to happen for us to win the game, and we were going to have to play to our maximum potential, and Chelsea would have to be off their game on the day.
It had been a hectic couple of days because we have the programmes to write, the home games and the expectations of the demands upon the job, and I thought, well, I'll go to Chelsea with the team, I'll have a couple of days away from the office, it'd be nice and quiet. And we created a monster.
We had a little meeting before the game and we were watching like positives and negatives. To be fair, there wasn't many negatives, it was only positives. So the gaffer said, listen, they just lost the game against Liverpool, you know what I mean? So we can do it as well. And everybody started laughing, you know what I mean? It just like broke the ice a little bit.
I remember being the most nervous I've probably ever been. And just seeing, like, obviously Frank Lampard, John Terry, and I knew them from sort of Man U, so I sort of, like I said low before, but it was like, I'm actually going to play this and it means something, But it was, it was just, I'll remember it for the rest of my life.
Well, Chelsea fans are used to seeing the shed end to my left-hand side ablaze with claret and blue, but for the first time since 1982, It's not West Ham or Aston Villa in the away end, but an army of some 6,100 folk from East Lancashire. And Clark, it's a magnificent scene there. We've got the two tiers of the shed end. The front tier goes up, 15 rows back, and then the top tier is just full to the brim of Burnley supporters.
It's a magnificent sight, especially with the current market today, and everyone's talking about the credit crunch and the financial difficulties. For these 6,000 fans to shell out their hard-earned money to come all the way down to London and watch the mighty Clarets, come up against Chelsea, it really is a privilege to be a witness to it.
Well, I'm not sure how many are here tonight that were here last time Burnley made a visit to Stamford Bridge. That was 36 years ago, as we've been hearing from that report from Andy Bays. Brian Miller, of course, was the manager on that occasion, and Burnley lost by 2-1. Very different back then. There was an oval shape, there was a sort of cinder track around the edge of the pitch. The stands were further back, they're now quite close to the pitch, and a lot of money has been spent, obviously, under the Roman Abramovich era in recent years. So Chelsea about to get the game underway, attacking from right to left in this first half. That's towards the Burnley fans, who are congregated, as I say, in the shed end, and Chelsea immediately knock it down this near left-hand side. Burnley in their claret shirts tonight, claret shorts and stockings, and Chelsea just as they were on Sunday in the Premier League at Ewood Park, when I saw them beat Blackburn Rovers fairly comfortably by 2-0 in all blue shirts tonight. Got the white football out, our referee all in black, that's Keith Stroud from Hampshire, and now it's with Florent Malouda, tries an angle ball towards the far post, and that will drift away, and Brian Jensen, Clark, can get his fingers on that football for the first time tonight.
Yeah, I think he'll be glad the first touch is to just place it on the 6-yard line and have a kick upfield. Brian's been in fantastic form this early season, keeping Diego Penny out of the side, who Owen signed as his number 1. And it's very fitting that he gets to play today.
Just the two changes for Burnley. Obviously yourself not involved. You're absolutely gutted you're not out there tonight.
I'm devastated. These are the games that you play football for. You dream of them as a kid. For the lads to be out there today, I just hope they thoroughly enjoy it and put in a performance that's worthy.
Well, here's Wade Elliott finding Martin Patterson, the hero of the Carling Cup so far, with 4 goals out wide. Tight to him there is Wayne Bridge. He's got past them both, but the flag goes up. He was slipped in there by Wade Elliott, and the flag goes up. So it will be a free kick to Chelsea, and the first we see of Owen Coyle on the touchline. Owen Coyle, of course, who got to the League Cup final in 1995 during his days at Bolton, but never featured in the final.
Yeah, I'm sure the gaffer rues that time, missing out on such an experience, but he definitely brings his experience to our side.
Here's Cudicini, left-footed ball, dressed in bright fluorescent orange tonight. No mistaking him, but he only finds Graham Alexander, who'll be absolutely loving this, the veteran. Up towards Martin Patterson, still inside the Chelsea half here. Live on BBC Radio Lancashire. We've played 2 minutes, and it remains Chelsea 0, Burnley 0, and Burnley have won it back here with Chris Eagles. This is shooting territory. Eagles pulls the trigger, drags it well wide, but we've seen Clark Eagles score from that kind of range before recently.
Definitely. Chris has undoubted ability, and shooting from 25-30 yards, it's not out of the question for him to at least test the keeper, if not nestle one in the top corner.
Yeah,
I think the 2 wide men might be a key element for Burnley today. They're both very comfortable on the ball, very skillful, good at going past players, and if they can produce, then Burnley might be capable of an upset.
So do you think it's basically 4-5-1 here with Blake, who just nods it forwards into the path of Good Johnson, just inside the Chelsea half again, out wide here to Wade Elliott. This is a really bright start from the Clarets, urged on by the crowd away to our left-hand side, headed out at the back by Alex, one of several Brazilians in the team tonight. No sign of Phil Scolari, the ultimate Brazilian, as it were, on the bench, and that's an aimless long pass forwards by Chelsea, and that'll run through again to Brian Jensen.
It's a very exciting start that the Clarets have made, looking like they want to get on the ball and keep the ball, and hopefully that'll continue throughout the course of the game.
Just got to keep the passing together. They can't afford to give it away. I guess a lot of it is down to Chelsea and their attitude to this match tonight, whether they think this is going to be a cancer, Clark. That might play in Burnley's favour.
Definitely. We were talking about it before the game. There's no place for complacency in football, and if you do that's how these FA Cup shocks, these League Cup shocks come about.
Indeed, and Scolari does finally appear, dressed in a black tracksuit. Here's Chris Eagles. He'll be revelling in the extra space afforded to Burnley tonight and slipped through towards Patterson, who gets a lucky ricochet. It just struck his elbow possibly, Patterson, and that allowed Cudicini, who's back in the team, a rare start for him, the Italian, who is the eldest goalkeeper on the books here at Chelsea, to clear his lines. And Drogba now has picked out Belletti, edge of the penalty area, goes for the shot, right-footed, always rising over the crossbar.
You know, generally in and around the Championship, you're happy with the opposition shooting from 25 yards out, but I think that might be a different matter today. But if the lads can confine Chelsea to shooting from that range, then we'd expect Beast to, you know, at least cover his goal.
Well, Belletti has got a couple of spectacular goals during his Chelsea career. Can play right back, but playing in that sort of deep midfield role tonight. A bit of a bargain buy, actually. Belletti didn't cost Chelsea more than $3.5 million, which is cheap by normal comparisons. And they've got possession again here with Florent Malouda, the Frenchman, out on this left-hand side, exchanging passes with Bridge. Burnley with everybody back behind the ball. 0-0 the score. Malouda's allowed to run forwards, laid off into the midfield. Here's Deco, the Portuguese superstar, out to that right-hand side now. Chance to bend the ball in. It's Ferreira's deep ball. Deco will head just wide, unchallenged. Well, I think two of the smallest players on the field there came together. Deco and Alexander at the far post, and Deco just got above the Scotsman.
Yeah, I don't think the lads will be too happy with someone of Deco's size and stature rising at the back stick and winning a header. I think we need to get tighter to markers running through from the midfield to make sure that the back four aren't overloaded.
Just going back to Belletti, can't afford to give him too much room because he does strike the ball cleanly, and he scored in the Champions League final of 2006, albeit via a deflection, to beat Arsenal, as Chelsea concede possession, and Burnley again will have a throw, attacking the goals to our right-hand side here. And you look round the ground tonight, Clark Carlisle, there's not many empty seats, even in the home end.
It's a phenomenal turnout, you know, and like I said earlier, the lads must be just revelling in this atmosphere and the chance to play at one of the best stadiums in Europe in front of a packed house.
Mineiro, the Brazilian, another rare start for him, playing in that midfield, picks out the play on the right-hand side. That's Salomon Kalou, who links up well with Drogba. They were former teammates once upon a time elsewhere. Into the penalty area, first real touch for Drogba, and again Brian Jensen, to the claims and shouts of beast from behind the goal, is able to collect just inside the penalty area. But Drogba must have been a handful. Well, he's a handful, isn't he, for anybody, even if he's been out for 6 weeks injured.
Definitely, his physical presence and his pace and his power are a handful for the best centre-halves in the world. So Michael Duff and the skipper have got a tough task on their hands today. I just hope that they can stick tight to him and limit his room and space.
It's quite a mild evening, actually, in West London. By no means cold. You were after some gloves before, weren't you?
Oh, I've made a schoolboy error.
Forwards from Burnley. The flag's just up against Eagles on the far left-hand side of the penalty area. Collected it really well. First touch was excellent from the former Man United youngster. And that was Wade Elliott and Good Johnson combining well in central midfield, floating it through the inside left channel. But the flag raised on the near side, and it will be a Chelsea free kick. 0-0. 7 minutes played here in the first half, live on BBC Radio Lancashire. Who's going to join the likes of Man U, Arsenal, Watford, Derby and Stoke in the last 8 of the Carling Cup? 3 ties to be decided tonight. 5 have already made it through. A reminder, you can follow the Blackburn at Sunderland game on the other frequencies, 103.9 FM, 104.5, 1557 AM and DAB. Alan Smart and Andy Bays up in the northeast. 0-0 there currently, and 0-0 likewise between Tottenham and Liverpool just up the road at White Hart Lane. Here's Drogba, 25 yards from goal, tries to, well, just bully Chris Eagles off the ball, and that's very well played indeed by Burnley. And it was Michael Duff, in fact, who got the foot in there. That was strong play from Duff.
It was magnificent defending, you know. Drogba tried to use his pace and get round the outside, and Duffo just stepped across, used his body to shepherd the ball out of play.
Didn't play, of course, on Saturday. Michael Duff was on the bench at Wolves, which was an under-par performance from you guys, really, on Saturday, compared to the great high standards you set for yourself in recent weeks, Clark.
Definitely, we feel that we underperformed, especially in the first 45 minutes, but we came out stronger in the second half, and that's a horrendous foul on Chris Eagles.
On the far right-hand side, right on the halfway line. We're beautifully positioned here. We can almost reach across and pat Owen Coyle on the top of the head. We're right on halfway. Drinks bottles just in front of Owen on the touchline, in front of the fourth official. But that was a body check on the right-hand side there from Chelsea. And it was Ferreira again who was a bit too strong. No yellow card shown by the referee. I think that's a sensible decision.
Definitely, yeah. You know, that's a measure of Chris's ability. He has that the skill to go past players with ease, and the only course of action that they can take is to bring him down.
Headed forwards by Chelsea defensively, still deep inside their own half. Knocked forwards by the Burnley captain Stephen Colwell, and that will flick off the head of Alex and back towards Carlo Cudicini, who is quite a colourful character, Carlo Cudicini, not just tonight with this bright orange goalkeeping jersey. He's actually going out with the woman who presents the Italian Big Brother. So the equivalent of Davina McCall, basically. Here's a back pass from Burnley, thumped clear by Brian Jensen over halfway left-footed. Nice clearance, and then headed into touch by Minero at the expense of a Burnley throw-in. 0-0 the score, live on BBC Radio Lancashire. Carling Cup, third round action. That's its fourth round action, isn't it? Into the quarter-finals. Burnley, of course, have already played and beaten Bury in the first round. Here they are again, nudging it forwards. Robbie Blake's got the bounce of the ball, 30 yards from goal, might be opening up for him. On the far left-hand side here is Chris Eagles, who joins in the attack, pulled back by Jordan, into the near post, it just deflects away, but the referee has spotted a push there on Wayne Bridge, who was covering, and that will be a free kick to Chelsea, and already the Blues underway here. 0-0 the score, and a back header from Colwell will just be kept in down at the byline by the goalkeeper Brian Jensen.
That's a vitally important touch from the skip there, because I think that was Malouda. Is it Malouda?
Kalu on the far side,
Was it Kalu trying to run through the middle? And this is what we've got to watch out for. Chelsea are going to be lightning quick on the counter-attack. So when we're going forward, we need to make sure that we've got the back door locked in and the defenders are fully focused on the halfway line.
Paulo Ferreira heads the ball back, and Paulo Ferreira, one of those players, he just signed a 5-year contract extension, but hardly ever plays for Chelsea. I mean, if you were that player, Clark, in the you sort of your peak years, late 20s, you'd be a bit naffed off about that.
Definitely, you've got to wonder how happy or content that he is, and whether he's just there, looking to, well, you don't want to say it, but
yeah, picking up the paycheck.
Exactly.
Here's Drogba, wins a free kick. He turned Michael Duff there. And Stephen Jordan as well came across. It was Jordan's challenge in the end that results in a free kick here to Chelsea. And it's in a decent position as far as they're concerned. 0-0 the score. 11 minutes played in the first half. And the Burnley fans away to our left will have a pretty good view of this one. And there are 2 or 3 players lining it up, including Alex, who can really clout the ball right-footed, the big centre-back. Burnley have got a 4-5 man wall here, and this is real danger. So too the player to the right-hand side, that looks like Malouda, who would be the obvious left-footed option, but he's walking away now, so it's going to be Alex to strike this, and he's run at least 5-6 yards back. He strikes it along the ground. It was past the wall, but not, and there's another shot from the edge of the box that just drifts into the side netting, but Brian Jensen certainly had it covered. That was Wayne Bridge with the follow-up shot, but the initial effort from Alex was struck cleanly but never made its way through, Clark.
Yeah, I thought that was actually excellent refereeing prior to the free kick, because he could very easily have dished out a yellow card there and set a precedent for the evening, but he was willing to let it go and give the player a warning, and hopefully there won't be too many cards thrown about tonight.
Long clearance from Jensen, who of course got back into the team, didn't he, I think, having played so well in that first round win, 2-0 at Gig Lane, and hasn't really looked back since, because Diego Penny started the season in goal. Free kick to Burnley. Just inside the Chelsea half. That's a complete waste by Joey Goodjohnson, and Owen Coyle tells him, but I think he doesn't need to know that he's made a right hash of that, and a telling off from the manager on the touchline.
Yeah, you can see what Joey was trying to do there. He's trying to get play started quickly and maybe catch Chelsea unawares, but sometimes when you're at Stamford Bridge, you might want to keep possession of the ball a bit longer, because you might not have it for that much in the game.
And it was hit over the head of Wade Elliott and out of touch for a goal kick taken by Cudicini, headed forwards by Ferreira, the Portuguese, and then a bit of head tennis again. Michael Duff is strong there, and Minero's beaten in the air by Robbie Blake, who is playing in this kind of hole position just off Martin Patterson. There's nobody through the middle though there, as Elliott looked for the run of one of the strikers. Martin Patterson had come out wide and Blake stayed in the hole.
I think you're right when in your comments earlier that Burnley have set up in a 4-5-1, and from the stature of the front line, I think it's going to be vitally important that they keep possession of the ball and keep the ball on the floor.
Here's Deco, not really been able to get into the game so far, the expensive summer recruit. Likes of SEN, Ballack not involved tonight, they're all out injured. In fact, quite a few out injured for Chelsea. Carvalho, Ashley Cole, Joe Cole doesn't appear at all on the team sheet. And Nicholas Anelka given the night off, having scored twice at Ewood Park on Saturday. So different form going into this game, and it's been knocked around at the back here by Chelsea. It's Tottenham 0, Liverpool 0 in the other game so far. 14 minutes played there, and now it's on the right hand side with Chelsea at the byline. Deep cross towards the far post. It's going to be headed behind, or is it just drifted behind anyway? And it has indeed, and that will be a goal kick to Burnley. Clark.
Yeah, I was keenly observing the warm-ups before the game, and especially the keepers in particular, and I found it interesting to note that Phil Hughes was firing shots in at bees from all angles, whereas Carlo Cudicini seemed to be practicing opening out and spraying the ball between the back four. I think it's easy to see what they're both expecting from the evening.
Indeed, we expect Burnley probably to be busy, maybe as the game wears on, and Chelsea do have the big guns on the bench if need be, if things go awry from their point of view. But 0-0 it remains, and Burnley have done okay. First 15 minutes, Clark, I think probably 7 or 8 out of 10 here.
Definitely, it's always important when you come away to these big teams that you don't lose an early goal, and Burnley have not only done that, they've looked solid, and they've actually created 1 or 2 chances themselves going forward. Hopefully that'll inspire the lads and give them a bit of belief in their own ability to actually take the game to Chelsea.
Long diagonal pass from Alex is a peach out to this left hand side, and Chelsea pouring forwards now, edge of the penalty area is with Drogba, tried to cross it in left footed. It struck a Burnley head. Good Johnson back there defending, and Chris McCann with a no-nonsense clearance turns the ball into touch on the far side at the expense of a throw-in. Level midway inside the Burnley half on the far side. The blue shirts attacking from right to left. Burnley in their claret traditional colours here. Edge of the box, chance for Malouda to shoot, and it's wasteful to say the least, and over the crossbar into the shed end. Cheers from the Burnley fans.
Very ambitious strike there from Malouda, but I think you can see Burnley have 9-10 men behind the ball as Chelsea bring the ball forward, and that's excellent defending, just restricting them to long range shots and overhit ambitious crosses.
Chelsea of course did reach the final of the Carling Cup last season when they underperformed and lost 2-1 to Spurs. But Burnley, they've not been to the semi-finals. Well, the furthest they've been in this competition is the semi-finals, and that was back in 1983 and in 1969. But they've got a chance here because they've won a free kick for a push midway inside the Chelsea half. Looked pretty innocuous, but the referee was in no doubt there.
Well, actually, I saw one earlier on Martin Patterson. That as the long ball comes forward from Brian Jensen, I think it's Alex is always leaning over the top of it. So I think Pato's won the free kick from the referee there just by stumbling forward, but there's definitely a push in the back.
Well, McCann and Patterson are waiting at the far post. It's a good 40 yards from goal, and it's an ambitious effort from Good Johnson. I think he was actually going for goal there.
Most definitely. I think it would be an interesting contest if you lined up Joey and Alex 40 yards out from goal and see who could fire the ball the hardest, because Joey's got a right foot like a hammer.
It struck a Chelsea midfield player and ricocheted harmlessly away into touch on the far side, and now Burnley have got it with the left back Stephen Jordan, who was a big doubt for the game. So too was Stephen Colwell, but they've both made a good recovery. And just the 2 changes for Burnley, 6 for Chelsea. 0-0 the score, 17 minutes played, and that looked like a push by Wayne Bridge on Martin Patterson, right in front of the assistant on the near side, and yet he couldn't see it.
You know, sometimes you feel that when you're a smaller club coming to these big stadiums against big teams, that referees tend to give the internationals the benefit of the doubt, but I think that was a blatant push on Martin Patterson.
Chelsea giving it away here, and Burnley have won it back 30 yards from goal out to this right hand side. Here's Robbie Blake, who will look to orchestrate things in the same way that perhaps Deco might for Chelsea. It's Wade Elliott's teasing ball in. It was a really good ball, nobody there though, perhaps just missing the extra height of Stephen Thompson this evening in that situation. Not to say that Martin Patterson is not capable of filling his boots tonight.
I think that cross more suits someone like Chris Eagles coming in at the back post. I think we need to, even though we do have to be defensively strong, not be scared of getting bodies in the box and making the most of chances that we can create, because that was an excellent ball from Wade.
Another diagonal pass from Alex in towards Drogba, who's controlled it all in one, and then he had it taken off him by Graham Alexander. That really is good play, and it remains 0-0. Belletti is waiting on the touchline to come back on because he went off injured just very briefly, and indeed he does come back onto the field. That was during the course of that free kick about 2 or 3 minutes ago. And it remains 0-0, but Belletti back onto the field of play.
Yeah, that was fantastic defended by Greza. Just made sure he got himself between Drogba and the goal, and I think he's been in the form of his career today.
Now they're through here, and a chance for Kalou to get the opening goal. Great save from Brian Jensen, and then the follow-up. He had to be careful not to handle there, because had he done so, he was just outside the penalty area, and it would have been a sending off. But the beast to the rescue. Great goalkeeping from Brian Jensen as Chelsea went 1-on-1. Now at the other end, here's Chris McCann, nearly slips it through to Martin Patterson. The game just opening up a little bit. The first real genuine chance of the match has fallen to Chelsea, and Brian Jensen up to the task of keeping Burnley in it and keeping that clean sheet. And here come the Clarets again. Good football in and around the penalty area. This is excellent football from Burnley. Eagles keeping it, then Elliott's cross into the middle, flicked over by Patterson. Mistake by the goalkeeper. It might just fall to a Burnley player loose inside the box. It was palmed up in the air by Cudicini. Talk about butterfingers. And fortunately for Chelsea, there was somebody there to clear the ball. Alex it was to the rescue. And now Chelsea, well, there's no let up at the moment. End to end, people start to rise up as Chelsea attack the goal to our left. People standing up here. Laid off to the edge of the penalty area, shouts to shoot as Belletti gets hold of it, but didn't connect with the strike cleanly. 0-0. Burnley have just got to clear their lines here. They've got to be careful not to commit a foul either inside the penalty area.
This is turning into a magnificent cup tie. End-to-end stuff, very exciting. Quality from both teams.
20 minutes played, 0-0, and still the ball refuses to go out of play. It's with Blake on the far side. Eagles is through the middle here. It's slipped forwards towards Patterson. He's just offside. Free kick to Chelsea. We can all breathe.
Well, what a magnificent double save from Brian Jensen. That was that Kalou or Malouda straight through on goal, and Beastie came out to the edge of his box, saved with his feet from the first one, and like you said, had to get the second one precisely right, otherwise he was off the pitch, and it's just totally befitting of his position between the sticks.
Well, it was Kalou who beat the offside trap. He perhaps fooled us all because he came on this left-hand side rather than the right, so he swapped wings, but it certainly worked, and he homed in on goal diagonally from this left-hand side, and Jensen made a very good save indeed. So
I think the Burnley defence all had their arms in the air looking for an offside, but when the strikers run from deep like Kalou did there, it's very hard to hold that line. You have to track runners sometimes, but Beast was come to the rescue, and that's why we always talk about a back five and not just a back four.
Chelsea 0, Burnley 0, and Burnley on the attack again, and they've got the loose ball here, edge of the penalty area, plenty of space, and Wade Elliott is cantering forwards here, making it look a little bit easy for Burnley at times in possession. Alexander up in this attack from right back, still inside the Chelsea half. Michael Duff forwards, chested down by Robbie Blake, who tried to play a slightly ambitious ball. He spotted the run of Good Johnson, but so too did Minero, and Belletti will now release Kalou on that right hand side again. Salomon Kalou playing it through the middle, looking for the run of Drogba, and Drogba has it now out wide right hand side, level with the penalty area, plays a low ball in, but Colwell's there, and the captain clears at the expense of a throw-in down by the corner flag. 0-0.
This is massively competent defending from the Clarets. You know, they're getting bodies back in numbers, getting themselves between the attackers and the goal, and just putting their bodies on the line for the cause.
Well, the Burnley fans behind the goal, not too impressed with, well, it's not time delaying tactics by Chelsea, but they weren't in any hurry to take that. And Frank Lampard has stripped off here and might be about to come on for Chelsea, you know. He's been running up and down the touchline quite frantically, and I think he might be coming on here, Frank Lampard.
I think the Clarets have got Chelsea running scared at the minute, and they're having to pull the big guns out.
Yeah, perhaps Scolari's seen enough, and the way Burnley have started here, you've got to say, favours an injury perhaps to one of the players. Belletti, I suspect Belletti, the number 35, is struggling. He went off injured about 5 minutes ago for treatment, and he doesn't look to be moving freely, so Lampard has taken his shirt off. Whether he comes on or not, we wait to find out. But in the meantime, Chelsea have it just outside the centre circle. 0-0. Same applies in our other commentary game tonight on BBC Radio Lancashire in the North East. Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. Again, you can follow on the other frequencies. 103.9 FM, 104.5, and 15:57. Now, Good play from Burnley again. They've got it through here. Chris Eagles, it's through inside left channel. He's being tugged back there by the defender, and the referee gives absolutely nothing. That Ferreira was pulling the shirt possibly of Chris Eagles, who just didn't quite have the pace to get past his man. He was goal side of him, and then he allowed the defender to just jostle him off the ball a little bit.
I think in these times where everyone criticises players for diving and rolling all over the place, you know, you've got to give credit to Chris Eagles there, because he could have thrown himself over with Ferreira tugging at him, but he tried to make the ball. He saw that he had a chance and wanted to make the most of that.
And it all started with a superb interception from Chris McCann just on the edge of his own penalty area, and then a storming run 30-40 yards forwards down the inside left channel.
Chris McCann has been the engine of our midfield though so far this season. You know, he's a real box-to-box midfielder, makes great attacking runs, and also he's defensively aware. He's at such a tender age as well. He shows, you know, vision and a reading of the game it belies his years. He's definitely a very valuable asset for Burnley Football Club.
Well, the applause you can hear is because the fans' favourite Frank Lampard is coming on, and we got it absolutely right. It is Belletti who cannot continue, so an early substitution here. It is an injury. It is not a tactical change by Scolari, but Belletti is coming off, and Lampard is coming on. So Frank Lampard into the action.
I think Mr. Scolari will definitely have all eyes focused on the Premiership this season, and he won't want to risk any of his players in a game of this ilk against Burnley. And if Belletti's got any kind of knock, he'll want to make sure that he can get him inside and get him wrapped in cotton wool for the big games that are coming up.
Well, what a player Frank Lampard is, and this just gives it even more flavour, doesn't it, tonight for Burnley? You know,
definitely. These are the players that the lads want to play against.
Indeed. 0-0 the score. 25 minutes played. If they do something miraculous tonight, and it will take something miraculous to win here, but it's not, you know, it can be done, it is possible. If they can do it, then why not do it against the very best, the likes of Lampard and Drogba?
There are 6,100 people to our left who I'm sure are harbouring more than a faint hope that Burnley can cause an upset tonight.
That's Clark Carlisle helping us out with the summarising duties tonight. Clark suspended. Here's Drogba, he's got it past Alexander, then goes for the bending shot and puts it in the corner, and Burnley concede for the first time this season in the Carling Cup, and it was a piece of genuine class from Didier Drogba. His first start in 6 weeks since recovering from a knee injury, and he took it past the defender and then curled it deliciously into the far corner in front of the Burnley supporters. Burnley have held on valiantly for 25 minutes, but they're behind here at the Bridge. It's Chelsea 1, Burnley 0.
You know, that's unbelievably gut-wrenching for myself and the fans and the boys, because for 26 minutes it's not even that the lads have been holding on. They've more than matched Chelsea in all parts of the pitch, but that was one piece of fantastically sublime skill. You know, Drogba just fainted, dropped his left shoulder and sent two defenders the wrong way and just whipped it round to Brian Jensen's blind side and into the bottom corner.
We had a great view of that, didn't we? He actually used, I think, one of the other defenders to just conceal the ball from Brian Jensen. Poor old Brian.
Definitely. Brian wouldn't have seen that until very late, and he had no chance of making it.
Well, 27 minutes played, and lots of people will tell you that was expected, but Burnley, to be fair, have been every bit the equal of Chelsea so far tonight. In fact, you could even almost argue they've been marginally better in terms of the way they've passed the ball around.
Definitely. The boys have kept the ball fantastically well and have actually forged one or two openings. You know, like we said, Ferreiro's pull on Chris Eagles, two fantastic deliveries from Wade Elliott, and that was arguably Chelsea's first effort on goal.
Sadly, that is the state of affairs, isn't it? You know, one piece of quality, that's all it takes from somebody like Didier Drogba, but 27 minutes played. There's still a long way to go in this cup tie yet, and it has to be decided tonight. So there's always the option of long distance back header from Gudjonsson was iffy, but Jensen's there. There's always the option of extra time and penalties.
Definitely, as the tie has to be settled this evening, but I'm sure that for the next hour the boys will be putting all of their energies into turning this tie round.
Stephen Corwell collects on the edge of his penalty area, plays it forwards just on the halfway line, left-footed. Good first touch from Blake, but then Mineiro was snapping at his ankles, and Chelsea have won it back now, and it's with Frank Lampard. I just wonder whether Lampard, even his very presence, he's only touched the ball once so far, just the very presence of him has lifted Chelsea from their apathy And here he is again, Lampard just playing it through the inside left channel. Out comes Brian Jensen.
That's the difference that world-class players can have on a squad and on a team. You know, when he's introduced onto the field of play, I'm sure that his leadership qualities and his motivational ability will come shining through. He's one of those people who leads by example. You don't see him raging all the time, and what an example he is to the rest of the players.
Oh, that's a strong challenge on the right-hand side, right on the touchline by Ivanovic on Martin Patterson, who collided with the assistant, and sportingly Patterson picks himself up off the ground immediately. Will be a free kick to Burnley on the touchline, just a few yards back from the 18-yard line, so about 23 yards from goal here, right-hand side, near side. It's Martin Patterson just delicately slapped the chin of the assistant there as he got up. It was all very well-mannered and sporting.
I think the assistant was flagging for a foul on himself.
Well, here's the cross from the right-hand side, and again Cudicini juggled with it. It was Elliott's teasing ball in deep to the far post, and now Burnley having to defend at the other end. Here's Drogba, who wins a free kick, the Ivorian, and in fact he's been taken in the wrong place, so Kalou instead will take this one on the far right-hand side.
Cudicini hasn't looked at all assured in this opening half hour of this game, you know, and I'm sure that the gaffer will say to the lads at half time, if they do get within 20-25 yards, you know, just to unleash it and test the man.
Deco will play the free kick short, midway inside the Burnley half. Burnley 1-0 adrift here against Chelsea. They've got to the byline, have Chelsea, and it's played back in, but there was Stephen Jordan to snuff out the danger. It will be a throw-in right by the corner flag, but whatever happens tonight, let's not forget that 6,000 fans have made their way down from Lancashire, and they're going to enjoy themselves, win or lose, aren't they?
Definitely, yeah. I heard a few interviews with them on a popular known sports news channel earlier today, and they said they were going to try and make it a party atmosphere, you know, and thoroughly enjoy their day out. But like I said earlier, I'm sure a lot of them, and I know that definitely our squad, feel that we're not just here to make up the numbers today, and this opening half hour has definitely shown that.
Indeed, 30 minutes played, and just two genuine chances for Chelsea. Kalou was put clean through, but a good save from Jensen, and then the goal arriving on 26, and it was all his own making from Didier Drogba. Superb first touch, great vision, just to nip it around. I think it was Alexander, wasn't it, that he knocked it around?
Yeah, he just side-footed it around into the bottom corner, and it's like you say, this is what separates world-class players apart from the rest. It only takes one chance, and it's in the back of the net.
Didier Drogba plays a crossfield pass. It was intercepted by Elliott, but then his first touch let him down, and now Bridge will collect, the England left-back, Wayne Bridge. No sign of Ashley Cole tonight. He's not in the 18 whatsoever. He's out injured. And now Frank Lampard, but it's amazing. Didier Drogba actually started his career as a right back during his Le Mans days. They paid £30 million for him, did Chelsea, and now Burnley have won it back. It's a pass forwards towards Patterson. This is a really good test, isn't it, for Martin Patterson, playing as a lone striker effectively, being shackled a little bit by Alex, but certainly running the channels well so far.
You see, that's what Martin gives to any team, you know. He's such a willing runner, he's got pace and energy to burn, and he turns any bad ball into a good one and will win you throw-ins and corners in and around the danger area.
And he controlled it well then, and Burnley nearly won it back through Chris McCann. Referee had a little look at the challenge from the Dubliner, but decided that play can continue, and it remains Chelsea 1, Burnley 0. Live on BBC Radio Lancashire, Clark Carlisle and Phil Cunliffe commentary team. And Chelsea, I said in my intro tonight, they've not quite got the flair, or I mean there is plenty of flair out there in certain individual cases, but they haven't quite got the overall flair or the verve that say Arsenal or Man United have, but they're effective, they're workmanlike and deadly. For want of another word.
Definitely, you know, they're very well organised, well drilled, and Chelsea are more a team who can just churn out results week after week. They don't have to play pretty, but you know that they're going to keep clean sheets and they're going to score 1 or 2 goals.
And they've got it back here. Burnley just giving the ball away a little bit. They've got to just settle again. Alexander with the back pass, belted clear by Jensen. Into touch on the near side. It'll drop down almost into the press box and rolls down the roof directly above our head, the big concrete roof. And will be a throw-in to Chelsea. 1-0 their lead. Didier Drogba the scorer in this 4th round Carling Cup tie. And it's now with Wayne Bridge again, edge of the penalty area, plays it up to Drogba, who looks to play a 1-2, but it was overstruck by the Ivorian and behind for a Burnley goal kick.
Very solid defending that from Burnley, just keeping the play in front of them. You know, teams will have possession through periods of the game. When you come up against a team like Chelsea, it might be for vast periods, but if that possession is in front of you and you're secure in front of your goal, then you tend to have not much to worry about.
But just to give you a demonstration of how difficult it is to try and beat Chelsea, they've only lost once in 33 Premier League games, and their recent defeat to Liverpool 2-1 here was their first in 4.5 years. Out comes Kudacini, and he nearly dropped that again at the feet of Martin Patterson. I tell you what, it is worth going in for everything up there, isn't it? Because the way Kudacini's playing tonight, he might just drop a clanger.
Definitely. If we have any set pieces, they've just got to rain balls in on him and see if he can regain his composure.
Little sense of tension around Stamford Bridge. The Burnley fans are the ones you can hear at the moment, and the Clarets have it in central midfield, knocking it around, playing some good football. And then sadly on that occasion Colwell's long pass goes astray, and it's collected by Wayne Bridge, who's in a more central midfield position. Lampard knocks it square out to the far right hand side, then jogs forwards. It's been picked up here by Gudjohnsen, the £11 million Frank Lampard, signed in June 2001 from West Ham, and Didier Drogba has it now, edge of the penalty area, but that's a poor touch from him, and in steps Gudjohnsen, who can just bring it away. Calm in possession, but then Mineiro won it back, the 33-year-old, and finds the player on this left-hand side. That's Bridge again, up towards the edge of the penalty area. It's one or two tasty challenges going in, but the pace of the game noticeably has just dropped off a little bit. Here's Lampard dropping his shoulder, going forwards, scoops it out to the left-hand side. First touch in ages for Malouda, right down by the touchline at the corner flag. Works it onto the right foot, in towards Drogba. Drogba with a piece of skill, laid off by Lampard, but it's a poor layoff, and Burnley have it now on the edge of the penalty area with Robbie Blake, and whatever Frank Lampard can do, so too can Robbie Blake there with a great turn and piece of skill just inside his own half. Now what do they do, Burnley? Well, the back pass is risky, but out comes Jensen and clears under pressure from Drogba. 1-0 to Chelsea.
You know you're always going to get an excellent touch, and Robbie Blake looking after the ball when you put the ball up to him. He's got fantastic feet, and he's got an eye for a pass.
He'll be loving every minute of this. That was a foul on the Chelsea player, but play on, says the referee. Drogba has it. He's so strong. It's just difficult to shrug off the ball, and they've collected it again. Burnley half cleared there, and now it's with Malouda finding Lampard. Thought about the shot. Lampard tries to play the 1-2. They've got to be watchful of that, of Burnley. And there was a player down injured in the build-up to that move. It was Kalou who gets back on his feet a little bit sluggishly. Referee played a good advantage for Chelsea there, didn't he, Keith
Definitely,
Stroud?
and I think you might find that he'll pull that back for a booking, because the tackle was very late from the skip there.
36 minutes played. Here's a long-range ambitious effort from the aforementioned Kalou, right over. In fact, it didn't even get anywhere near the goal. It went into the upper tier of the shed end to our left-hand side, and the Burnley fans certainly enjoyed that.
And there, Mr. Stroud just backs up what I said about him earlier. You know, he's just gone over and had a quiet word with the skipper, which is excellent in today's game, because you tend to be seeing the physical element of the game being stamped out, and it's becoming a non-contact sport, but that was just a wholehearted tackle. And Mr. Stroud just told the skip just to make sure he gets the timing of it right on his next chance.
Well, one or two Chelsea players out there who've not played a lot of football this season, and I'm sure the fitness isn't in any doubt for that reason, but I just wonder if Burnley can put pressure on second half, then one or two might just buckle under that pressure. The likes of Ivanovic, who has hardly played, the man who partners Nemanjevic in the Serbian team. Free kick to Chelsea, and that was a harsh decision by the referee on that occasion.
Yeah, it's a very soft free kick, but coming back to what you're saying, I do think it might play a massive role in this game, the lack of match practice, because you can run all day long around a track, but match fitness is very different.
Lampard into Drogba. He just tried to flick the ball up, tee himself up, and we've seen him score that kind of a goal where he tees himself up, flicks it round and then volleys in. But Michael Duff and Stephen Colwell were having none of it, but they've given it away again, Burnley here. 1-0 adrift, and we've got 7 to the break. Still 0-0 in our other commentary game on BBC Radio Lancashire. And I can tell you that Tottenham have scored. Pavlyuchenko has opened the scoring against Liverpool. 38 played there at White Hart Lane. So it's Tottenham 1, Liverpool 0. Pavlyuchenko, the goal scorer. And free kick here to Chelsea, away to our right-hand side. Not quite the ferocity of the opening 25 minutes or so here. The game just going into a quieter spell.
Yeah, it definitely seems to have petered out a little bit. Chelsea dominating the possession a little bit more. You know, if the lads can hold out to the break and, like you said, maybe step up the intensity.
Finding Malouda, goes for the shot left-footed, parried by Jensen. It was coming across him from the angle. Poor old Graham Alexander just... there's a long-distance chip from Lampard. We saw that similar kind of effort at Hull recently, but he wasn't able to beat Jensen on that occasion. And the goalkeeper backpedaling can take it high above his head. But we saw Graham Alexander again just slip momentarily there and almost proved costly as the giant kick downfield from Jensen nearly bounces into the path of Patterson, who turns to Alex and says, well, they're exchanging words there, the striker and the defender. Bit of pushing and shoving.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all
about.
Physical contact's going to be a part of the game, especially when the ball's in the air. I don't know what Alex is complaining about, especially someone of Pato's stature. Surely he should be able to cope with that.
Cudicini clears, and then that's headed forwards by Michael Duff, who was caught in the face there by Didier Drogba, who wears that distinctive trademark headband, and they're calling for the player to be sent off behind the goal to our left. The Burnley fans, not surprisingly. I don't think there was ever a worry of an elbow there from Drogba. How did you see that, Clark?
Yeah, I don't think there was any malice or intent in that. I think Drogba's going up like big strikers do, and with his arms up protecting himself. Nothing like some of the incidents that we've been seeing on the news of late. That was just a genuine attempt to get the ball, and two players colliding. Duffo's unfortunately come off the worst.
Well, Michael Duff is okay, he's back on his feet again, and play continues with Jensen taking the free kick just up to the edge of the penalty area. That was a curious jump in the air by Patterson, who seems to have come off worse, but he's back on his feet again. Now he takes the loose ball on the edge of the penalty area, tries to weave his way through.
Referee!
He's gone over. Challenge was from Lampard or possibly Ivanovic, and play continues. And Burnley have it. Was that a penalty shout, Clark?
Well, I know I'm supposed to remain impartial, sat here, but I think that was a definite foul at least, and we can't see from the angle here how
Elliott
close
heads
it
the ball into the penalty area. Here's Patterson, wins a corner. Excellent movement from Patterson, and then he drove it goalward with his right foot from the byline, and it deflected off Alex and behind.
This is what I was alluding to earlier, is that Martin Patterson can make anything out of anything. You know, his willingness to run and get into the corners can produce set pieces in vital areas.
Corner's taken short, laid off. Elliott's ball in. It's nearly deflected goalward by a Chelsea defender. Elliott again, a couple of step overs, works it onto the left foot. McCann's in there, shot from the edge of the box. Was not a clean effort from Robbie Blake, and we've seen him score from that kind of range before. And Burnley again will look to keep the ball alive here. Chris Eagles, he can't take the ball with him, and Burnley have got to be careful here. 1-0 adrift, that they don't allow Chelsea in on the counter-attack. We saw that quite a lot on Sunday at Ewood Park. Elliott has got the ball back. He made a mistake and then recovered. And both sides guilty of making lots of errors, unforced errors at the moment.
Definitely, yeah. Both teams are giving the ball away in dangerous areas, you know, in the defensive third, which is very unlike both of them.
Looks like Tottenham have got a second goal. Fraser Campbell has got his first goal for the club there. So Tottenham leading Liverpool by 2-0.
I think they're trying to show that the result the other day wasn't a fluke.
They've certainly improved under Harry, haven't they?
Definitely.
Tottenham, plenty of Tottenham fans on the tube coming in. And 1 or 2 on the M40 coming down this afternoon as well. When did you set off? Was that yesterday, last night, or this morning?
No, this morning we came down on the train, got down into London, I think it was around about 2 o'clock.
So what happened then? Did you all pile on the tube?
No, we thumbed a lift in. Trying to save some money in these times.
Good old London transport.
It's probably more reliable than taking a coach through.
Excellent. Well, it's been a great day out so far for the Burnley fans, and they've not been outclassed here by any stretch of the imagination. Just the 1 goal scored superbly by Didier Drogba. Burnley have had little sniffs of an opening. And not many Premier League clubs have had that kind of an opportunity recently. Chelsea haven't conceded for more than 5 hours in the Premier League, and they've got the ball here. Good ball in for the right-hand side, and Jensen had to watch it all the way. It was bent in by Minero, and straight down the throat of the Dane, but had to make sure he didn't spill it there because Drogba was in close proximity.
Definitely, that's one of those really difficult balls for goalkeepers when it bounces just in front of them. You never know how it's going to kick, whether it's going to skid through, so Beastie did very well to smother that and keep it within his grasp.
90 seconds of normal time to go in the first half. Live on BBC Radio Lancashire. Chelsea 1, Burnley 0 is the score. And we'll have plenty of reaction to this, of course, on tomorrow night's programme. Thursday night we'll start to look ahead to the weekend's action as well. You've got a big game at QPR to look forward to. Full commentary on that one on Saturday afternoon. And then we've got full commentary on Blackpool against Preston. It's the big Lancashire derby, of course. I'll be at Bloomfield Road alongside Gary Hickson and David Ayres.
That's a big game.
1 o'clock start. You played in a few of those yourself, of course.
I did, you know, I'm not allowed to say it, but I used to love playing against Preston.
Here's Frank Lampard collecting 35 yards from goal, swings it out to the far right-hand side. It's a good cross, stood up well and controlled by Kalou. Tottenham have got a third, I think. It's down at the byline. In comes Preston. In comes Fraser Campbell, has got a second goal. 3-0 the score, and Chelsea here have won a free kick, have they, down at the byline. It was a clumsy tackle from Colwell. He just got frustrated there. He needs to perhaps just keep his cool in that situation with less than a minute to go in the first half. And if Burnley do concede here, Clark, they'll be mightily cross, and so too will Owen Coyle.
Yeah, the lads will be gutted, you know. It is clumsy, like you say. The striker's heading in there's no danger to the goal. He's heading away from the goal. You just need to stand up and force him away.
So Tottenham 3, Liverpool 0. Fraser Campbell with his second. A header at the far post. Plenty of movement here. It's the first corner for Chelsea. Burnley have already had a corner themselves. It's played in left-footed and hits a crossbar and then cleared off the line miraculously by Graham Alexander. Flicked away at the near post in a posse of players, and there'll be 1 minute of added time to be played at the end of the first half here. But Chelsea striking the woodwork and making it 2-0 nearly, almost in stoppage time at the end of the first half.
Well, what a fantastic delivery that was, and that's just where quality counts. When you know you've got a player who can put the ball on a sixpence, it's going to create all sorts of problems.
Drogba again, holding it up really well, then turning his man. He's got past Jordan, goes for a shot, ambitious again for the angle, 25 yards out, but we've seen those kind of efforts whistle in the bottom corner before.
Definitely, you know, that's the first bit of quality we've actually seen from Drogba since scoring his goal. I was going to maybe mention that he might have just settled down a bit and relaxed since putting the ball in the back of the net in the 27th minute, but he just shows that it only takes a split second and just an ounce of quality, which is what he has in abundance.
Owen Coyle appears on the touchline again, just to urge his players on one last effort. They won't need to do any more because the half-time whistle has gone at Stamford Bridge, and Burnley have been undone by a piece of pure quality really from Didier Drogba, collecting the ball. He knocked it one way, then went round the other side of Alexander, got to the edge of the penalty area, then used one of the other defenders as cover to bend the ball around the left hand of Brian Jensen into the far left-hand corner of the net.
I remember walking out, and it was a brilliant sight under floodlights. All our fans were away to the left as we come out the tunnel, and I think we had about 6,000 or 7,000, really packed the end out. I think the whole atmosphere in the dressing room was a great opportunity, a great stage for us. Nobody really expected anything from us, and we could just go out and enjoy it and really test ourselves a little bit and see what we're about.
We've played 2 minutes and it remains Chelsea 0, Burnley 0, and Burnley have won it back here with Chris Eagles. This is shooting territory. Eagles pulls the trigger, drags it well wide, but we've seen Eagles score from that kind of range before. It's Deco, the Portuguese superstar, out to that right-hand side now. Chance to bend the ball in. It's Ferreira's deep ball. Deco will head just wide, unchallenged. And here they are again, nudging it forwards. Robbie Blake's got the bounce of the ball. 30 yards from goal, might be opening up for him. On the far left-hand side here is Chris Eagles, who joins in the attack. Pulled back by Jordan, into the near post. It just deflects away. Now they're through here, and a chance for Kalou to get the opening goal. Great save from Brian Jensen, and then the follow-up. He had to be careful not to handle there, because had he done so, he was just outside the penalty area, and it would have been a sending off. But the beast to the rescue. Great goalkeeping from Brian Jensen.
Also their right back, Belletti, goes off, and Frank Lampard comes in. It's not really it's going to weaken their side, is it?
When he comes on first, you're in a bit of awe of him. Like, this is probably one of the best players in the world coming up against you, and I think he showed how good he was when he came on his first touch of the ball, set up the goal.
Tell us about your battle with Didier Drogba, your personal battle with him.
I mean, it was excellent coming against top forwards like Drogba and Elka, and the young kid that came on was a fantastic player, Santos, as well. So, you know, we were, rather than it being individual battles, we knew that we had to sort of tackle these kind of players as a team effort. And we had to make sure that the shape of the team was as such that we were never really isolated with Drogba. And unfortunately, he managed to isolate Duffo the once, and fantastic skill. And as I came over, he slots it in the corner, and that's the talent these guys have got.
0-0 the score, 25 minutes played. If they do something miraculous tonight, I think it will take something miraculous to win here, but it's not, you know, it can be done, it is possible. If they can do it, then why not do it against the very best, the likes of Lampard and Drogba?
There are 6,100 people to our left who I'm sure are harbouring more than a faint hope that Burnley can cause an upset tonight.
That's Clark Carlisle helping us out with the summarising duties tonight. Clark suspended. Here's Drogba, he's got it past Alexander, then goes for the bending shot and puts it in the corner, and Burnley concede for the first time this season in the Carling Cup, and it was a piece of genuine class from Didier Drogba.
He's as good as what you think he is, really. He's as big and as strong as what you think he is. I went up for a header in the first 5 minutes, and as I went up for it, he just stood into me, and that's when I realised how strong he was. Although he scored a worldie, really. There's not a lot anyone could have really done about it. It was just one of his special goals, I think, and like I said, it was a relief when he went off.
I fancied, you know, the centre halves to stand up to Drogba, as daft as it sounds on the night. And if a few things came together, you know, you never know. But once Drogba scored that goal, your heart sinks and you think, here we go.
The gaffer decided to, you know, try and keep it tight, and you know, hit him on the break, you know, in the second half, and I was, you know, holding play for the night, and it went really well according to plan. And obviously they scored a great goal from Drogba, which was a fantastic goal, which you expect with that type of player.
I mean, you do treat it as well. You know, it could be a one-off. You know, going to Chelsea, it doesn't happen every week. Certainly at the moment in the Championship. So, but again, I remember turning to Sandy, my assistant manager, at 1-0 in the second half, and I says, no matter how this finishes, you know, the lads have been outstanding, because it wasn't 1-0 and sitting in. We were taking the game to Chelsea.
Burnley are unchanged from the side that started tonight, so that means that they've got Brian Jensen in goal, Graham Alexander, Michael Duff, Stephen Colwell and Stephen Jordan in defence. A midfielder, Chris Eagles, Chris McCann, Joey Goodjohnson and Wade Elliott, with Robbie Blake and Martin Patterson at the two strikers. Blake just playing off Patterson, and Chelsea, the rest of their lineup, they got Cudicini in goal, Ferreira, Ivanovic, Alex and Bridge in defence. Here they come, the blue shirts of Chelsea attacking from left to right, but Burnley have won it back, and inside the penalty area now it's with Eagles at the byline, looks to pull it across, and sliding challenge was from Ferreira, who's the right back. And then just to complete that lineup, they've got Minero, Belletti, well, he's gone off, replaced of course, Salomon Kalou, Deco and Drogba up front. Here come Burnley again on the far right hand side, and the 6,000 fans away to our left go up expecting a decision from the assistant, and help forwards again towards Wade Elliott. Burnley in their claret shirts. There's a dummy from Chris Eagles, but I don't think Chris McCann quite expected it, and he misplaced his pass. And then Kalou will knock it forwards here towards the edge of the penalty area. Well, Malouda's still out there because he's got possession now. And here come Chelsea on the right-hand side with Ferreira, the right back, into the penalty area. Exchanges passes with Didier Drogba. High cross. There's nobody in there at the far post, and Alexander will just allow that ball to bounce away. It's helped back into the middle though. Burnley have got to get it away here, and they finally do so. And Chris Eagles, well, he was foolish there to run with the ball, and he's been dispossessed by Minero. And Chelsea win it back, and it's a pretty hectic start to the second half as well, with Chelsea still leading by a goal to nil. Here's Drogba, controls it inside the penalty area, and now he's putting pressure on. But Jordan did well with the back pass, and Jensen clears upfield, but it's coming straight back at Burnley at the moment here, Clark.
Well, it's just like we said in the first half, you know, both teams are giving the ball away needlessly when they've got comfortable possession. But I think the first couple of minutes there, that was a fantastic opening for Burnley to give them the encouragement, you know, starting the first couple of minutes in the attacking third, give them a bit of belief to drive forward in this half.
Well, Mikel has replaced Deco, so we've got it tidied up. Deco is the player that's gone off. I've worked it out for you. And Lampard, of course, came on at the end of the first half for the injured Belletti. So two changes tonight already by Luis Felipe Scolari. Plessis has scored for Liverpool. It's Tottenham 3, Liverpool 1 in one of the other games tonight. One of 3 cup ties, of course, the other one being Blackburn Rovers at Sunderland, 0-0. But you can follow that one on other frequencies tonight. That's 103.9 FM, 104.5 DAB digital radio, and on the medium wave 1557 AM. Chelsea in possession here, just outside the centre circle. 4 times winners of the League Cup, 2 times defeated finalists as well. And they scamper forwards. Here's Wayne Bridge, one of those dogged, determined runs that we've seen from the England man. He's run 60 yards there, drives in the cross, it strikes the heel of Alexander and deflects away for a throw-in, level with the 18-yard line, far side of the field. Chelsea attacking the Matthew Harding stand, and Drogba has turned his man inside the box. They're appealing for handball there. Referee says goal kick Burnley.
That's a funny situation there. All the lads turned to look to the linesman, hoping for an offside, but there was no flag coming.
So what do you make of Deco going off at half-time? Do you think... I didn't see an injury there, Clark.
No, it didn't look like there was an injury, but I think, like I said in the first half, you know, Mr. Scolari is probably just looking after his players, so if he's feeling any bumps and bruises, then he'll probably take them off to make sure that they're fit and ready for the game Saturday or Sunday or whenever it is.
Well, we were quite impressed with Mikel on Sunday, me and Richard Dennis. We thought he put an energetic performance in. He's a real box-to-box midfield player. Might well have scored as well. Here's Ferreira. Surge forwards from him towards the Burnley penalty area. Infield it goes. It's beyond Lampard. Robbie Blake's getting instructions now from Owen Coyle and Steve Davis on the bench. They're just in discussions, the coaching staff down in front of us on the halfway line, all sat down at the moment. Owen Coyle in a white t-shirt. And it's not the coldest of evenings in West London. It's not too bad compared to recent times. It's relatively mild. Perfect night for watching football, and Chelsea lead by 1-0. At the moment they're going through to the quarter-finals of the Carling Cup, as Patterson will give chase of a long ball downfield, and he's got it, and then he was buffeted out of the way, and Coyle is just alerting the referee Keith Stroud to the fact that Patterson was pushed there in the back and that should have been a free kick.
Definitely. It's very similar to a situation in the first half where I think the referee and the linesman are both giving the benefit of the doubt to the Premiership player. But that's what we were saying about Martin Patterson. He had no right to get anywhere near that ball, but forced it into a 50-50 when it looked to be comfortable Chelsea possession.
All the clapping you can hear is from the Burnley fans away to our left-hand side in the shed end, many of whom in the lower tier are standing up as Drogba collects. He tries to nudge the ball into the path of Minero, former Hertha Berlin man, and then into Burnley, win it back and played it up towards Patterson, but Patterson was just marginally offside inside the centre circle, so a very high position there. And Chelsea already are moving it forwards, and they've just maybe got the bit between the teeth again here, Chelsea, with Lampard. Leisurely crossfield pass will pick out Ferreira, who can strike the ball, but not like that, because that's into the crowd behind the goal for a goal kick. Yeah,
very ambitious strike from Ferreira there. I know that he probably gets it on target, but in a game, you know, in an actual match situation, when the nerves are flying and it's a bit lively, then it's a tough call to hit the target from there.
It's like Tottenham have got a fourth goal against Liverpool. 4-1 the score there. Pavlyuchenko has got his second of the night, so 2 for the Russian and 2 for Fraser Campbell. His first goals for Tottenham. They're cruising through to the last 8 of the Carling Cup, where they will join Man United, Arsenal, Watford. Surprise result last night perhaps down at Swansea, Derby County and Stoke City. So 1 or 2 unglamorous teams in there, Clark. One of your former clubs as well, Watford.
Yeah, they did very well to get past Swansea last night, because especially after Saturday's result where they took a beating, to say the least. So for Malky to get his troops rallied and to turn that result around was an excellent result.
4-1 the score then at White Hart Lane. As here it's 1-0 to Chelsea. Adi Akinbaye with a new look haircut, I guess you would call it, running up and down the touchline to our near side. I wonder if big Adi Akinbaye is about to come into the fray here.
It's looking likely, because he's taking his bottoms off, but Adi's haircut's taken 5 years off him, and he looks like a very virile young man, and I'm sure if he gets out there he'll cause 1 or 2 problems with the Chelsea back line.
Chelsea knocking it around at the back, not really hurting Burnley here, but now it's collected by Malouda in the inside left channel. Lampard nudges it forwards, and then Burnley with everybody back behind the ball apart from Blake and Patterson. Knocked through, offside against Drogba, and that'll be a Burnley free kick. So let me remind you of the substitutes tonight. Starting with the Clarets, they've got Diego Penny, Kevin MacDonald, Adi Akinbaye, Alan Marn, Jay Rodriguez, the hero of the last round when of course his winning goal beat Fulham, and Adam Kay and Alex MacDonald, 2 youngsters in the squad tonight. 7 on the bench of course in the Carling Cup. And Chelsea's bench, well, they can only make 1 more change, having brought on Lampard and Mikel. They've got Hilario, the goalkeeper. Di Santo is a young striker, brought up in Chile, born in Argentina with an Italian passport. Scott Sinclair, John Terry and Michael Woods. And Burnley got a free kick here just outside the centre circle, which is taken by Alexander, out wide to the right-hand side. Now it's with Wade Elliott running with real purpose towards the byline. Plays the cross in, deflects away. Second chance here, Alexander. Cute pass into the body of Blake. Back to Alexander again. The layoff from Blake was just slightly behind the Scotsman. And away come Chelsea on the counter-attack, and Burnley just got to be careful here. Mistake by Drogba, who pulls up. Drogba not looking happy at all. He's got an injury problem as Eagles gets to the byline. Across comes Ferreira with a sliding tackle, and Burnley have got the first corner of the second half.
That tackle had to be perfect, and Ferreira got it right. Otherwise that would have been a penalty to Burnley, because Chris Eagles is causing all sorts of problems getting down the outside of the full-back here.
Well, first corner of the second half. Burnley have got it, and the volume button just turned up a notch as Blake delivers. It punched by Cudicini. Got nowhere near it. Hopeless from Cudicini. It's retrieved on the far side from Burnley, played back into the penalty area. They're still up here, the big boys, including the likes of Colwell. They should have lofted the ball in there. That was Michael Duff who went for an ambitious shot, and now Good Johnson's dived in on the halfway line, and Chelsea might counter-attack as Good Johnson comes across to cover in the left back position. It's with Malouda inside the penalty area, goes for the shot here, and Burnley in the end just get sheer weight of numbers back to crowd him out, and might counter. Excellent layoff from Blake on halfway, releasing Eagles down the near touchline. Blake makes his way forwards, but Eagles didn't quite pick him out with a pass, and a little bit more extra quality there from Eagles would have played him in, but it was a difficult situation. I'm probably being a bit harsh on Chris Eagles,
but it was a very good move. It was an excellent layoff from Robbie Blake.
Danger at the other end though, teasing ball in, it's Lampard with the left foot and knocked behind by Stephen Jordan for a corner to Chelsea. 1-0 the home side lead on BBC Radio Lancashire. 54 played in the match, and Jensen pats Jordan on the back of the head. I think Jordan thought that Brian Jensen might come and gather that, but Jordan, taking no chances, knocks it behind. And the corner's taken short. They're not picking up here, Burnley. Ferreira's high cross in. There's a header at the far post. Was that Ivanovic again? It was Ivanovic. And the man who partners Nemanja Vidic in the Serbian side got way above his marker, but couldn't quite pinpoint the header into the back of the net.
No, he's missed a target there, but Chris McCann did just enough, you know. You need to make sure that these people don't get free headers, and Chris was challenging him at the back post to make sure that he couldn't direct his header on goal.
Well, cleared away by Brian Jensen, who made a terrific save in the first half when the score was 0-0, when Kalou was put through one-on-one, saved it with his feet, then collected the follow-up on the edge of the penalty area. Had to be careful, but then the goal arrived on 26. Didier Drogba with a piece of great ingenuity, putting it around Alexander, went round the other side. Alexander perhaps not quite got the pace to deal with that, but I don't think many players of whatever age will be able to contain that kind of skill.
Exactly, you're talking about phenomenal skill, you know, that sets players apart and puts them into the 20 and 30 million pound category.
And Drogba was there to curl the ball into the back of the net. Excellent piece of skill from Drogba. 1-0. Didier Drogba's got a beer named after him, by the way, back home in France. Very popular character, of course. Raised in France, but plays for the Ivory Coast. And Chelsea with a long-range back pass here will find Kudachini, who's an absolute bag of nerves tonight.
He's all over the place, and just like we were talking about...
Flicks through. Out comes Brian Jensen. Should collect this right on the edge of the penalty area. It was Kalou that was played in. Kalou appeals towards Jensen, and then the two make up, kiss and cuddle. Referee has a quick look at it as well. I think Kalou was claiming that Jensen had gone in with his stud showing, but it was a clean take by the goalkeeper, who rubs the back of his left wrist. And it all came about through Drogba's flick on, and now Burnley have given it away in central midfield again inside the centre circle. Drogba was having his shirt tugged by Stephen Colwell, and this is a free kick in a very dangerous position for Burnley, and it will be in fact the first yellow card of the evening shown to the Clarets skipper.
I think that was for the intentional foul, because otherwise Drogba was turning and was running at the defence, but that all came about from Chris McCann not being aware of what was around about him, got caught in possession, which Burnley have to be very careful that they don't do. You know, the difference between the two sides has been that final ball, the bit of quality and the pass selection, and we need to make sure that we fire our passes off just that little bit quicker.
Well, if you want quality, you talk about quality if you want it. Frank Lampard is the epitome of it, and there is the yellow card for Colwell for the foul. So a free kick to Chelsea. Lampard is lining it up. It's 26, 27 yards from goal, but it's in a very central position as Brian Jensen makes sure that the wall is in a decent position so he can see the flight of the football here. The referee, Keith Stroud, is also ensuring that the wall is back the allotted 10 yards. Dangerous moment this for Burnley with the free kick. Lampard lining it up. We know what Lampard is capable of from a set piece, from a dead ball situation. He is likely to wreak havoc. Here he is, strikes it against the wall, against somebody's knee, I think. Might well have been Chris Eagles, and a cheer from the Burnley fans away to our left. It remains Chelsea 1, Burnley 0.
That's exactly what you want your wall to do, just to be big and strong, not break up, and make sure that the ball doesn't go through them.
Alex with a long distance back pass practically inside the Burnley half to Kudachini, who clears. Drogba with a back header cushioned into the path of the play on this right hand side, and it's going to be cleared away. That's Mineiro popping up on this near right hand side. He's not really been in the game very much tonight. Burnley giving it away. Chris Eagles the culprit there, edge of the penalty area to Florent Malouda, trying to put it through, and it was an excellent tackle on that right hand side from Joey Goodjohnson.
Yeah, Joey's very good at that, tracking back, making sure that it just gets a footing. You know, when we do defensive work at the training ground, one-on-one he's very hard to beat.
And a pinch of a pass forwards as well, has found Wade Elliott, who teased his fullback, went one way, dropped his shoulder, and he's unlucky not to get possibly a corner, if not a throw-in down by the corner flag. It's a Chelsea throw-in, and that will give Owen Coyle the opportunity to make his first change of the evening, and it is the aforementioned Adi Akinbaye coming on here. A rare appearance for Akinbaye. He's had to play second fiddle to Jay Rodriguez, the youngster who's been preferred on the bench in recent matches, but he's coming on for Martin Patterson, who's run himself into the ground tonight. And let's not forget that without Patterson's contribution in the first 2 rounds of the competition, Burnley wouldn't even be here tonight.
Definitely, you know, Pato, he's shown his quality in those rounds, just like you said. He's an excellent poacher of goals. He can strike a great ball like he showed against Oldham, and he just runs all out for the cause. But his replacement, Addy can do exactly the same, and getting out on the pitch today is no less than he deserves, because day in, day out in training, Addy's phenomenal. He works so hard, and he's a great mentor for all the young players that we've got at the club.
Well, he can certainly give himself hero status tonight if he can get a goal or 2. At least 1 would be fantastic.
I'm telling you, he's more than capable of that. Addy produces finishes from nigh on impossible positions on the training ground, so for him to do that tonight, it'd be excellent.
Here's Elliott running across the edge of the penalty area, out wide to the left-hand side. On the overlap here is Jordan. Deflected cross into the middle, might just fall to a Burnley player, but it's hooked away by Minero. Up towards the halfway line. Excellent strong header on halfway from Duff, who's got to be in there again. A bit of buffeting going on. Burnley win it back. A tackle snapping in. Here's Akinbaye, who tried to control it, and he was brought down by Alex on the edge of the penalty area. Now, if that was a free kick at the other end, that surely was a free kick to Burnley.
That's exactly my point earlier, Phil. It just seems that the Premiership players just seem to get the benefit of the doubt in these situations.
And here come the Blues on the counter-attack. Scolari's side towards the byline. They can't keep that in. Lamparders. In fact, it's not Lampard, it's Bridge on the far side. Can't keep that in, and it's behind 4. Goal kicking now. Owen Coyle is remonstrating with the 4th official, but to be fair, I never quite see the point in this. Is it just letting off steam, Clark?
I think it is, yeah. I think it's just venting, because
he can't do anything about it, can
no, but the gaffer will be immensely frustrated on the side, and that's some way to let off a bit of steam. But let me tell you, if that's how Alex is going to play this game, then he's certainly riling Addy up for a battle.
Well, it was a funny old tackle from Alex. It should have been punished by the referee to give him his full title, Alex Rodrigo Diaz da Costa. There's a mouthful for you. Not surprisingly, he's just known as Alex to me and you. And it remains Chelsea 1, Burnley 0, live on BBC Radio Lancashire. On our other game, it's still goalless, so that one's heading possibly towards extra time. I don't think Paul Ince would have wanted that tonight. With the more important game to come, of course, at Ewood Park on Saturday in the Premier League. Sammy Hoopier's headed a goal, what could be a consolation. 4-2 the score in favour of Tottenham at White Hart Lane. 4-2 to Tottenham, but Hoopier just giving Liverpool a bit of hope there. 4-2 in the Carling Cup tonight. 0-0, as I say, in our other game, which you can follow on the other frequencies. 103.9 FM, 104.5 DAB at 15:57 AM. Burnley are not giving up the ghost here, and they're really taking the game to their opponents. And Elliott there with a strong run, nearly wins a free kick on the edge of the box.
The players are just reflecting, you know, the belief and the confidence that the manager's instilled in them this season. You know, there's no fear out there. The lads are just matching up like for like and really going all out to try and score against this world-class Chelsea side.
Come on, Burnley is the cry to the left-hand side. Flags draped across the bottom of the upper tier of that shed end. Famous stand here at Stamford Bridge. And it remains 1-0. Drogba with his goal, looking like at the moment it's enough to send Chelsea through. And you think that Chelsea have battered teams in recent weeks. Burnley doing ever so well here. Free kick to Chelsea. In fact, their last 3 league games, an aggregate score of 10-0. I can tell you that Roque Santa Cruz has scored for Blackburn Rovers. It's Sunderland 0, Blackburn Rovers 1, Santa Cruz the scorer. So that's good news from up in the northeast. Rovers in front there. And here, Burnley still sticking to their task. They've still got quite a bit of time to go. They've got best part of half an hour, just under.
There's plenty of time to change this game and turn the tie around. Like we saw at Highbury the other day, you know, the game isn't over until the ref blows his whistle, and the last 5 or 10 minutes when players start getting tired is when a lot of mistakes happen and a lot of chances on goal arise.
Well, that was McCann back there helping out his left back and turning the ball against the shins of Paulo Ferreira for a goal kick to Burnley. And again, it's the Burnley fans shaking here. I don't really making a racket.
Definitely. I don't know if the listeners at home can hear this, but the noise that's coming from, is that the shed end?
Yes, it is.
Coming from the shed end here is nothing short of magnificent. These Burnley fans are thoroughly enjoying themselves and are making themselves heard.
Chris Eagles playing the ball into central midfield. It drops here to Joey Goodjohnson.
That's a free kick.
Oh, play on, says the referee. It was Lampard's challenge, the 2 number 8s coming together there in the centre circle. Referee was right by the action, but gave nothing.
He was right on it, and Lampard did take the ball with his feet, but it's the pulling of the shirt, for the 5 yards beforehand that's a free kick, and undoubtedly would be given the other way.
I tell you what, Phil Scolari's concerned here about some of the way Chelsea are playing. And he's suggesting there might have been an elbow, possibly. He's remonstrating towards the fourth official that one of the Burnley players might have used an elbow to brush one of his players off the ball. But they're getting a lot of joy, Burnley, down that far right-hand side. The ball over the top is catching Wayne Bridge out of position. It's happened twice now.
I think because Wayne Bridge is such an attack-minded player, when Chelsea go forward, Wade Elliott's afforded a lot of room to counter on that right-hand side.
Well, throw into Burnley, level the 18-yard line on that right-hand side. Here is Elliott, who, let's not forget, caught the eye in a cup tie against Burnley while playing for Bournemouth a couple of years ago. And on the strength of that, Steve Cotterill signed him, and not quite the same performance tonight, but he certainly had a lot of joy on that far side. Here's Chris McCann, does very well to turn away two quality players, two players on him there, and he turned away from both of them, showing what pedigree he's got. And talking of pedigree, here's Chris Eagles going one way towards McCann. McCann can't quite get on the end of the through ball, and it's cleared away by Chelsea up towards the halfway line. But in terms of possession at the moment, I think the stats probably with the visitors. Free kick to Chelsea, and again a debatable decision.
I don't want to get frustrated because but that's my point exactly. They just fall over quite easily, and the ref seems to be on their side. But I don't want to go against Mr. Stroud tonight because I think he's refereed this match fantastically well.
He's only shown two, in fact, just the one yellow card. That was to Colwell in the second half. Here's Lampard, looks up, playing in a deep position at the moment, still inside his own half, out to this near touchline. Ferreira has to go back to his goalkeeper. That shows you how organised Burnley are as a unit back there.
Look at this Burnley team, that they're not sat back waiting for Chelsea to come on them. They're pressing the ball high up the pitch, so that halfway in the Chelsea half, they're having to go back to their own goal because there's pressure from all angles and there are no available passes.
Looks like Franco Di Santo is coming on, the young striker. Third and final change about to be made as Drogba turns Jordan on the edge of the box, but quite rightly he's penalised for backing into his marker. That'll be a free kick to Burnley. 1-0 it remains to Chelsea. Drogba's goal separating the two teams at the moment, and elsewhere it's 4-2 to Tottenham. Looks like the Tottenham goalkeeper's got a bad knock there. We'll keep you posted on that, but here comes the third and final change for Phil Scolari. Now Blake has got on the end of a long ball. It was from Jensen's clearance, and it was a good first touch, wasn't it? A real out and out trap with his right foot. Risky back pass from Colwell. Jensen has to clear this up in the air on the volley, left-footed. He couldn't pick it up, and there were two Chelsea players bearing down on him. And finally the ball drops out of play, bounces once over the touchline, the halfway line, and so Di Santo will come on here, and it's going to be
I would expect Drogba to be coming off here. Yeah, it seemed like he was just flexing his knee off earlier, rubbing it, with his right hand. So I think he feels like he's probably put enough of a shift in today. 70 minutes, hopefully with the goal, enough to show Mr. Scolari that he's ready for a start. But with Nicholas and Elka firing on all cylinders, I can't really see that happening.
Well, we can see those shiny green boots at Drogba as he makes his way towards us and off the field. And Di Santo comes on, who's a really interesting character, as I say. He's born and bred in the Andes, brought up in Chile. In fact, he played for the same team that Carlos Villanueva plays for, Audax Italiano. He's on loan, of course, at Blackburn Rovers, Villanueva. But he is actually Argentinian, and he holds an Italian passport, so make something of that little mess. Here's Blake for Burnley, chipped into the penalty area. Eagles is onside, the angle's tight, great save from the keeper. Akinbaye has put the ball into the back of the net, and 6,000 Burnley fans jump for joy in the shed end. Pandemonium in the shed end as Burnley equalised. It was an absolute dream for Akinbaye, who takes his shirt off, and the substitute has come to Burnley's rescue, and it is at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have conceded a goal, their first in more than 5 hours, let's not forget, in all football. It's Chelsea 1, Burnley 1.
That is absolutely no less than the team deserve. They've put Chelsea under magnificent pressure for all of this second half, and what a fantastic piece of play it was as well. It's a great ball from Blakey through to Chris Eagles, who, like we said, has been causing all sorts of problems running down this left-hand side. He produces a fantastic cross with his left foot that like we said, Cudicini he couldn't deal with it. It was too hot to handle. He pushed it out into the middle of the goal, and Adi Akinbaye was not going to miss from there. I'm just a bit ashamed that he didn't get his lucky pants out.
Well, had it been Robbie Blake, it would have been the lucky pants, I'm sure. But that really has turned the volume up another notch. We're at volume 11 here inside Stamford Bridge, and it is all square. Chelsea 1, Burnley 1. Who'd have thought it?
Well, I'd have thunk it. 6,000 people to your left would have thunk it, and everybody on the away bench. But what a match we have on our hands now. You know, Chelsea have made all 3 of their subs, so they can't make any changes to their side. Whereas the gaffer has still got 2 aces in the pack that he can pull out at any time.
Chris Eagles, massive pats on the back for him.
Oh, definitely. That's what we're saying about what sets fantastic players apart from average players. It's the ability to produce when you just maybe get one chance, you produce that moment of quality, and that's exactly what Chris Eagles did.
Well, a couple of goals in our other game. Phil Bardsley own goal has given Rovers a second goal, but then seconds later Kenwyne Jones has pulled one back, so it is Sunderland 1, Blackburn Rovers 2 in our other commentary game on BBC Radio Lancashire. But the big story of the night potentially is here at Stamford Bridge, where Burnley, 5th in the Championship, have had the audacity to equalise against a side that, they've not conceded a league goal for more than 5 hours. And Chelsea have let a goal in here tonight in the Carling Cup. But here's Lampard at the byline, does well to keep it in, pulls it across. There's no Drogba in there, let's not forget now. There's only Kalou and Malouda, the obvious striking options here out on the field. And Joey Goodjohnson gave the ball away. It's pushed to that left-hand side. Deco went off at half-time as well. And now Malouda skips round a tackle or two, but he can't launch it into the penalty area. And Akinbaye will hunt down the pass, which is deep in Chelsea territory. Here's Cudicini, who has not done himself any favours tonight. If he's going to dispossess Peter Cech of the first team jersey at Stamford Bridge, he's not done a very good job of it, quite frankly.
Well, you definitely can't see that happening on tonight's performance, can you?
But the Burnley fans will be loving every second of this, they really will.
Oh, look at this, it's just fantastic closing down by the Burnley side. Dogged, determined defending, but I think Chris was a bit overzealous with that challenge.
It's going to be a booking for Chris Eagles. They've just got to settle again here. Owen Coyle is having a word with the 4th official. Alan Mann is taking his top off, and Alan Mann, I think, is going to come on here. But Chris Eagles, the latest Burnley player to go into the referee's notebook. So Colwell, Akinbaye and Eagles, the 3 players booked, and Akinbaye was shown a yellow card for taking his shirt off in celebration.
Yeah, I think those bookings are harsh. I don't see the need for, penalising players for just showing their delight, and exuberation at achieving what they've been training all week to do.
Danger not over here. Will be heartbreaking if Burnley concede. Excellent tackle again. That was Stephen Jordan with a perfectly executed slide tackle. Nudge forwards. Chelsea pick up the loose ball 30 yards from the Burnley goal. Down the centre, but Burnley are crowding out the Premier League leaders at the moment, and Blake able to lay it off intelligently. Gomez was down for the count for 4 minutes for Tottenham, the goalkeeper. Here's the cross on the right-hand side from Burnley into the penalty area, and it's cleared away by Chelsea. And Eagles has got a problem with what could be his thigh or his hamstring. He's down on the ground here, Chris Eagles, injured, and Owen Coyle is telling Chelsea to put the ball out of play sportingly. Kalou is showing no sign of that. Finally he does do, much to the disdain of the Chelsea supporters, and on comes the physio. But let me just tell you about that injury to Gomez, the Tottenham goalkeeper. We saw it on the screen. He went down. Philip Dega went through. It was a head injury to Gomez, and he was down for 4 or 5 minutes. He's been taken off on a stretcher, and Cesar is on for in the replacement goalkeeper. But Tottenham Hotspur leading Liverpool by 2-0, and Chris Eagles receiving treatment out there.
Yeah, that would be a big loss to Burnley if Chris was to go off here. I'm hoping that's just a little knock that he's taken on the muscle and that he'll be able to run it off.
Well, what a night this could be potentially for Burnley Football Club. It's not as though they're beating the reserves here, or they're not beating them, but they're drawing with them. And while Chris Eagles is limping off here, looks as though he's going to be okay. Let's give you some text. People have been texting in with their thoughts tonight. if you want to text in, you can do. 07786 201 955 is the text number, and we will read those out for you a little bit later, or perhaps during the commentary as well. But we've got 15 and a bit minutes to go of normal time. As it stands, we're heading for extra time here in the 4th round of the Carling Cup, live on BBC Radio Lancashire at Stamford Bridge. And Drogba it was with the first goal on 27, and Akinbaye with the equaliser on 70. Here come Chelsea with Lampard. Runs up towards the edge of the penalty area. Thought about the left-footed shot. There's a bank of Clarets shirts ahead of him. Chelsea attacking the goal to our right. The big stand away to our right. Sliding tackle. Referee had a little look at it. It was Mikel dashing in there. The tackle was from Robbie Blake. Mikel again drops his shoulder, puts a cross in. It's a delicious effort. Headed over at the far post. That was Salomon Kalou rising above his marker. And had that been on target, it might well have been the second goal.
Yeah, but just like I was saying earlier, it's important that these attackers don't get free headers, and Michael Duff was strong there at the back post with Kalou, making sure that he couldn't direct his header, putting him under just enough pressure so that the header went over the bar.
Going to be a change. Robbie Blake, who, well, ditto what I said about Martin Patterson earlier. He's run his socks off tonight, and no sign of those lucky red underpants, but never mind.
No, he's given his all for the cause as Robbie, and those footy pants that you can get from footypants.co.uk, by the way. They come in all names and numbers. They won't get an airing tonight.
No, well, they'll be in the airing cupboard, but they won't certainly out here. And Alan Mahon has come onto the field for the remaining 14 minutes of normal time. So Alan Mahon will just slot in behind Adi Akinbaye, who is still the lone striker. And Eagles out on his left-hand side, and Elliott out on that right-hand side. But it's the Burnley fans who are really enjoying this now. 1-1 the score. Akinbaye's equalised the second half.
Burnley are definitely in the ascendancy in this game, you know, and Alan Mahon coming onto the pitch, he's possessed of undoubted quality. He's played in the Premier League, you know, he's played at the highest level in the game, and hopefully he can just produce another little spark of brilliance that can get Burnley through to the next round.
Well, Owen Coyle, of course, has seen plenty of cup shocks in his time. When he was at St Johnstone, they got to the Challenge Cup final, and they just left as they got to the final, but he guided them through the semi-final before joining Burnley. Here come Chelsea at the other end, though. Chance on this right-hand side for Kalou. Tried to thread it through the eye of a needle, and away come Burnley on the counter-attack now, piling forwards. Alan Mahon is calling for it, but he's a long way from the ball here. It's in the right back position. Michael Duff knocks it forwards. Akinbaye turns his man, then he's having his shirt tugged, and finally Burnley get a decision on the far side. The assistant actually does something positive tonight and gives Burnley a free kick, and already the Clarets are moving towards the penalty area. Out wide is Elliott. Good teasing ball in. Akinbaye should have jumped in the air. There's a mistake by Kudachini. He's just not at the races tonight at all. And now McCann on the left foot strikes it. Deflection away. That is the man that you probably want to find in possession for Burnley on the edge of the box. McCann at the other end. It's Lampard who can't fed it through to Malouda. It's an intriguing, absorbing game of football.
It's a fantastic game of football, and it is turning into a real cup tie, end to end. Both teams desperately trying to go all out to win this game.
It is an absolute classic, one for the Burnley fans to buy on DVD, I'm sure, in the future. Here's Chris Eagles on the edge of the penalty area, cutting onto his right foot, laying it off towards Mahon. What a fairy tale this could be if Alan Mahon could wrestle his way through there. Lampard doesn't quite look on top of his game either at the moment, but he makes amends there, having nearly given it away, and finds Mikel, who runs towards the edge of the box, trying to thread it through behind Graham Alexander, who tracked the run of Malouda all the way and clears into touch.
It's fantastic defending. If you surveyed Burnley fans and the Burnley squad, Graham Alexander is a player of the season today. He's just been in phenomenal form, and he just gives that experience and assuredness at the back that is a great foundation to perform from.
A reminder, it's Sunderland 1, Blackburn Rovers 2, so Rovers heading towards the last stage of the competition. But who's going to win the day here? Burnley have got a throw in away to our right by the Matthew Harding stand. A stand, of course, named after their former chairman, who was tragically killed in a plane crash on his way back from a Carling Cup tie, or a League Cup tie as it was, at Bolton in '96. So 12 years ago now, and that will be a free kick for offside Free kick to Burnley for offside against Di Santo. He's done absolutely nothing since coming on, has he, the youngster?
No, he hasn't. He doesn't look lively. He doesn't look like he's at all interested in this game. But then when there is a high-tempo, high-energy game, it's very difficult to come off the bench and get straight into the rhythm of the game. And especially with Burnley having so much possession and putting Chelsea under so much pressure, it's not like Dos Santos has had time to get a few touches on the ball and, you know, just kind of get into the game slowly.
Akinbaye flicks a ball on. I tell you what, Brian Jensen's put some very good balls into the penalty area from set pieces, almost on the dead ball line there, as Malouda collects at the other end now for Chelsea, inside right channel, tries to slip it through. It was ambitious, really. Might have been better just going for a goal.
I'll go as far as to say that that's a bad pass.
Yeah.
You know, Malouda's picked the wrong option there. He's running in at pace, and to thread it through the eye of that needle was nigh on impossible. But going back to your point about Brian Jensen, you know, his kicking is definitely a weapon for us at Burnley Football Club. Now we've introduced Addy into the attack line here. He's going to cause all sorts of problems for the Chelsea defenders in dealing with these long balls.
Well, it's his long ball again that finds...
Handball! Sorry.
You're getting all carried away, Clark.
Oh,
it's great to hear, actually.
I'm nervous and excited all at the same time.
Is this what you like when you sat on the bench down below us?
I'm the worst watcher of football ever. I just get so keenly involved.
Well, here come Chelsea. Long ball through the middle, but it's not really hurting Burnley right now. Let's bring you some texts. People have responded. Carol says Burnley are doing us proud. Is that Clark Carlisle? He's doing great. But sounds like Gary Barlow to take that.
I wish I was a penny behind Gary Barlow, let me tell you.
07786 201 955 is the text number if you want to interact with us. We'll hopefully get to extra time and read out some more for you. Louise says she's dead proud to be a Claret, loving the commentary as well. And Bev in Preston says fantastic commentary. Whatever the result, I'm proud to be a Claret. Here comes Chelsea. Burnley haven't got themselves a place in the next round just yet. Lampard will have something to say, I'm sure. Here he is, twinkle toes inside the penalty area, hooked away to safety, and at the expense of a corner though for Burnley.
This
so more
is just
defending
fantastic
needed.
defending from the Clarets. You know, I'm really feared for getting my place back in the side on Saturday. They're looking so assured, they're getting bodies behind the ball, really putting the bodies on the line for the cause, and nothing's getting through them.
Malouda with a left-footed delivery from the corner, headed out at the near post by Colwell. It'll fall here to Minero, and then Adi Akinbaye, the last man to thump it upfield, and headed forwards by Ivanovic inside the penalty area.
Brilliant.
It's a little bit messy at the moment, but Burnley won't necessarily mind that, and they're looking to counter-attack, but at the moment they're having to defend. Here's Stephen Jordan, has to tackle that correctly, and he did, sliding in, and making sure that Mikel didn't get past him there.
He had to time that right, otherwise that was him in the referee's book to follow the others, but he got that perfect.
41,369 inside Stamford Bridge tonight, so whatever you might think about the Carling Cup side, Carling Cup as a competition, it's well down the pecking order as far as Chelsea fans are probably concerned with the Champions League and the Premier League. They're top of the pile at the moment. That's not a bad attendance, and Chelsea looking for a penalty, but they're not going to get it there, and Kalou is brushed over there, but it was all his own making, and that will be a goal kick to Burnley. Let's bring you another text. Jim from Burnley, Jim the Dreamer, says, he said earlier that they're going to win 2-1, and he's still sticking by his guns tonight. He thinks that might well happen.
Well, I hope he got a pound on that, because he'd have got a fantastic return.
Well, he would. Burnley 14-1 to win the game tonight. The draw 5-1, and Chelsea 5-1 on. So in other words, if you put Brian in Padium says, up the Clarets, loving the game, sounds a great game. Clark's doing an excellent job, so you get plenty of compliments tonight on the text.
Thank you very much.
07786 201 955. But Chelsea 5-1 on. Now Burnley have won it back. Shot from the edge of the penalty area, rattles the advertising boards behind the goal. Cudicini had it covered from Alan Mark, but a fine effort from 35 yards.
That's an adventurous effort, but let me tell you, Alan Mark's got the quality to find the corners there. He does it in training all day long.
It's now with Ferreira playing it right back tonight for Chelsea, making 6 changes at start of play. Burnley making the 2. Lampard has come on as a sub. Here he is picking up the loose ball, finding Malouda on that left hand side. He's now inside the penalty area. He's gone past Alexander, pulls it back. There's nobody there though. He couldn't wrap his foot round it, and that's credit to Burnley and the way they're defending tonight. And it remains Chelsea 1, Burnley 1. If you're just joining us tonight, you missed an absolute classic. Chelsea taking the lead They were denied by Jensen in the first half, a great save from the keeper, but then Drogba, with a piece of utter magic, scored the opening goal. Chelsea won, Burnley 0 at half-time, and then the equaliser, a magical moment as well from Adi Akinbaye. He must have been an absolute dream. He must have dreamt in bed, dared to dream last night of that opportunity. Open goal practically in front, having seen Kudachini spill the shot at the byline. The cross-come shot from Eagles. And Akinbaye might have missed it, but he didn't on this occasion, and he smashed it into the top of the net in front of the ecstatic Burnley fans. Here's Mikel though for Chelsea on the overlap right-hand side. Chance here for Chelsea. It's Alex who was up there in the right-back berth. And Chelsea still retaining possession, edge of the penalty area. Alex again, the Brazilian. Back to Mineiro, another Brazilian. Infield to Mikel, but Malouda came across to get involved and then made a right pig's ear of it.
It's funny, I was reading the programme before the match, and there was an interview with Alex, and he was saying that exact situation, that it's hard for teams to cope with a centre-half coming out of defence with the ball, because they're man for man and this extra man creates problems, and he did exactly that for Chelsea there.
Mikel collecting deep inside Burnley territory, 5 minutes to go of normal time. Cross into the penalty area, Lampard's in there, Lampard controls effortlessly down at the byline, then pulls the cross back. Jensen struggling, and then Jensen falls on the ball. It was a back header at the far post. Was that Ivanovic?
It was De Santos.
De Santos it was, the number 9, who got a header in downward towards Jensen, who made a fine save. Thanks for your text tonight. Let's give you another one. Keith in Burnley says, come on lads, come on you Clarets, you can do it. And Jack in Padium says we love you. She says basically the same thing. Dingle Des has also been on tonight. Come on Clarets, let's show the Blackburn fans how it's done. And also says, Clark, you're doing a good job. Which you are, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for helping us out tonight. Gina Reid says she wishes she was there, or she wishes she was here rather, at Stamford Bridge tonight. Thanks for your text. 07786 201 955. Dean in Burnley says, well done Burnley, you're making it a brilliant night. Dima rather.
I think no matter what the outcome of this match tonight, you know, all the Burnley players and the Burnley squad can leave this stadium with their heads held high and their chests out, because they've put on a magnificent performance. It's
a foul by Alexander on the far side. He gets back on his feet again, looks towards the referee, and it will just be a free kick and not a booking, which Lampard is eyeing up already. Just 3 yards in from the far touchline, level the 18-yard line. 1 or 2 flash balls going off in the crowd. 41,000 here. This is exactly where Burnley want to be in the long term. They want to be in the Premier League, playing these kind of teams week in, week out.
That's the ultimate
moment,
aim.
They're doing a very good job. It's a one-off occasion at the moment, but they're doing a very good job. Here's Lampard with a delivery, punched clear by Jensen, who's turning in a possible man of the match performance here. Back into the 18-yard box again by Chelsea. It's a cannonball in there, and then finally a shot is over the top of the crossbar. It was Wayne Bridge with his weaker right foot, and that was never going to trouble Brian Jensen.
No, it wasn't. You know, Wayne didn't connect with the ball very well there, and it sliced off into the crowd, but it was an excellent punch from Brian Jensen there, because he definitely saw the ball late. It was whipped in head height past a horde of attackers and defenders, and he got a solid fist, unlike Mr. Kudachini in the other goal, and punched it beyond the box and away from danger.
A reminder that Blackburn Rovers lead 2-1 at the Stadium of Light in the other Carling Cup tie tonight locally. And we've got 2 minutes here to be played of normal time. De Santos with a right-footed shot straight at Brian Jensen, who goes down and makes a tidy save. And of course, after 2 more minutes, we'll see what we've got in terms of stoppage time, but after that, if it's still deadlocked at 1-1, we will have half an hour of extra time and possibly dreaded penalties, which I hope not, but you never know. Chelsea's recent record of penalty shootouts, Clark, referring to the Champions League final.
When the pressure's on, you know, penalties, I believe, are the only way to settle a match. You know, the nerves are high, tension's high, and you've got to see who's got the steel to hold.
Akinbaye laying it off, but can't quite find Eagles. 4-2 to Tottenham still in the final minute of that game at White Hart Lane, and Rovers leading 2-1 at Sunderland. Here's Mikel advancing towards the penalty area. De Santos is unmarked at the far post, but Burnley just got to keep their concentration. Alan Marner drops his shoulder, tries to nudge it past Mineiro, but quite rightly referee has awarded a free kick to Burnley. Let's give you another text. Great job, Clark, says Nash in Padium. Come on Burnley, you can do it, you've just got to believe in yourselves. And tongue in cheek, glad to see that Clark's comments are timed better than his tackles. That was from who in Rochdale? Andy in Rochdale. Thanks for that, Andy. Emma wants to know, Clark, are you married?
Happily.
Some cheeky text there. 07786 201 955. Here's Elliott at the byline, puts a good cross in, not quite the height to beat Ivanovic at the near post, who defends it well. Still 1-1, and we're into the final 20 seconds of normal time. Poor pass from Chelsea, and now it's opening up here for Elliott on the far right-hand side. Needs a good cross. Akinbaye flicks on. Handball, surely, against Alex. The ball bounced up, and 6,000 Burnley fans went up appealing for handball. Nothing given. 3 minutes of added time to go at the end of the game. Burnley will be kicking themselves all the way back to Lancashire if they let it go from here. It's played into the penalty area, and it's hit the side netting. That should have been the winning goal, and it's been missed by De Santo. And from our angle, it looked like it was in the back of the net. Actually, it was played through just inside the D, and an instant shot on the right foot that looked to have nestled in the corner. It actually hit the side of the net, and the net was billowing. It looked like it had gone in, but it hadn't.
It hadn't, and you know, the lads will hopefully pick themselves up from that, because only seconds earlier they produced two fantastic chances to get the ball in the box, and it was the captain Steve Caldwell's excellent composure intercepting the play and then sliding Wade Elliott through.
Well, they're not finished yet, Chelsea. We are in stoppage time, 3 minutes. We've got 2 minutes of the 3 to be played yet, and Burnley need to keep it tight. De Santo, who has missed a really good chance there to win it, has kept alive the ball, and now Bridge deep inside Burnley territory, floats the cross in, stands it up towards the back post. The whistles are from the Burnley fans away to our left, but they might stop the whistles now, because Elliott had it and he nearly played in Akinbaye one-on-one. It was overhit, the pass, and the flag is up now, offside against Malouda, I think.
Yes, it was. You know, Alan Mann picked up the ball there, just approaching the centre circle, and Wade Elliott had made a fantastic run. He'd come all the way from the edge of the box. He was tearing down that right wing, and I expected Marnie to see him and reverse that ball through to him, but he tried to go down the centre, and Addy was blocked off.
We've got just over a minute, in fact, just over a minute of added time, as Elliott tries an ambitious lofted volley from almost impossible angle, and I think it was an intended shot. It just hit the back of the stanchion, high above the back of the net there, into the Burnley fans, and it remains Chelsea 1, Burnley 1. Burnley in absolute dreamland here, and if they can just get a winning goal, well, it's an early Christmas present for everybody, quite frankly.
Easy, Stevie.
Here's De Santo up against Stephen Jordan, who stuck to his task very well. Dogged performance tonight from Stephen Jordan, who was a big doubt for the game. Eagles can't quite pick out the run of Akinbaye, and Alex will try one more time through the middle. They've got to be careful. Michael Duff nearly pulled the back of the shirt there of De Santo, and it goes through to Brian Jensen.
It was intelligent defending, you know. The ball was always going to skip through to Brian, but Duffo just stepped across the defender without overly impeding him, just making sure that he couldn't put a challenge on the beast.
Well, we've got 20 seconds as we welcome Blackburn Rovers fans. Blackburn Rovers have won tonight. Well done to the Rovers. They have won 2-1 at Sunderland, and considering all the problems in the build-up to that one, Roque Santa Cruz among the goals tonight. That is some result for Blackburn. Let's hope they can build on that in the league on Saturday. The whistles again from the Burnley fans. 1-1 the score here at Stamford Bridge. It's been a night of real drama, and that is full time. So we're about to go into extra time here. Owen Coyle, deep in thought, surrounded by his coaching staff. The likes of Steve Davis make their way onto the field to have a discussion with their players about what to do from here on in. Owen Coyle has seen this before as a player during his Bolton days. They got to the League Cup final, of course.
We didn't go there and try and shut up shop and maybe nick a 1-0 or hold out for 0-0 or just wait for them to score, which I think a lot of teams do. We went and played our way. We went and played 4-4-2, passed the ball, and you know, although we went 1-0 down, I think it showed the character in the team that we've shown since that game as well, that, you know, we could come back and get the result.
Here's Blake for Burnley. Chipped into the penalty area. Eagles is onside. The angle's tight. Great save from the keeper. Akinbaye! Akinbaye has put the ball into the back of the net, and 6,000 Burnley fans jump for joy in the shed end. Pandemonium in the shed end as Burnley equalised. It was an absolute dream for Akinbaye, who takes his shirt off, and the substitute has come to Burnley's rescue, and it is at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have conceded a goal, their first in more than 5 hours, let's not forget, in all football. It's Chelsea 1, Burnley 1.
The pressure was building. I turned around to a colleague, I said, just watch that Burnley end in 5 minutes when the equaliser goal was in, more tongue-in-cheek than anything else, and lo and behold.
The minute Addy put the ball in there, that was just it for us. Like, the whole stadium just went wild. Like, all our fans just went wild. It was a great feeling. Like, we knew that once we scored, like, we were well back in the tie, and it was just a fantastic feeling.
I enjoyed every minute of it, and then obviously the only downside to it was me doing a mad celebration, pushing all my mates off. Which when I watched it, I thought I was a bit embarrassed, but as I said, we enjoyed every minute of it, and I think it's one of the best games that probably I've been involved in.
When a fellow senior pro like Adi Akinbaye makes an impact in a game like that, do you feel a special affinity with him?
Yeah, definitely, because you know, once you're over the age of 30, everyone thinks you're finished, and that's it, and asking why you're hanging around still, sort of thing. So no, you know, we're sort of proving that, you know, over 30s have still got a lot to offer, and you know, Adi came on, it was a great finish from him, and he did really well in the rest of the game for us there as well. So, you know, he sort of, a lot of lads look up to Adi, and it was great for him to score.
Mikel again drops his shoulder, puts a cross in, it's a delicious effort, headed over at the far post. That was Salomon Kalou rising above his marker. Already the Clarets are moving towards the penalty area. Out wide is Elliott. Good teasing ball in. Akinbaye should have jumped in the air. There's a mistake by Kudachini. He's just not at the races tonight at all. And now McCann on the left foot strikes it. Deflection away. Chelsea 1, Burnley 1. I can tell you that Spurs are through. They have beaten Liverpool by 4-2 tonight in the Carling Cup. A couple of goals, in fact 2 goals there for Pavlyuchenko and 2 for Fraser Campbell. So good night for Spurs on the other side of London, here in West London by the Thames, by the King Road. Well, the swagger of Chelsea hasn't quite been there tonight, and that's all credit to the way Burnley have played. And against the aristocrats of Stamford Bridge, the Roman Abramovich people, and all the money awash here. It's Burnley 5th in the Championship who have done the Coca-Cola League proud tonight, and here they come with a high ball into the penalty area. They've done well at the byline there. That was Wade Elliott, and Burnley in their claret shirts attacking the goal to our right. That's the Matthew Harding stand. Terrific header on halfway from Colwell, nearly picked out Adi Akinbaye. Flick forwards by Akinbaye, and Burnley of course have made just the 2 changes, Marn and Akinbaye on for
Patterson and Blake.
Yes.
I don't know if you heard that at home, but a few ironic cheers for Kudachini claiming that cross. I think that kind of sums up his evening.
Here's Gudjonsson doing well, helped forwards by McCann out to that far left-hand side. Burnley attacking from left to right, and it's now with Chris Eagles just to that left-hand side. And crossfield pass from Eagles is a belter, absolute belter. Picks out Alexander, advances towards the penalty area. Tell you what, Burnley are every bit as good as Chelsea so far tonight. They've not been outclassed whatsoever, apart from that one piece of magic from Drogba. Alexander's clever pass into the middle, looking for Akinbaye, headed away by Lampard. It'll fall here for Malouda, pumps it forwards towards one of 3 changes for Chelsea. De Santo, of course, is one of them who really had the best opportunity to win the game in stoppage time, and he's clutching the back of his thigh here, De Santo, as if he might have a hamstring problem.
Well, no, I think that looked like a touch of cramp actually, which makes me question his fitness, because he's only been on the pitch half an hour.
Well, less than that probably, and
22 minutes in fact.
Has he warmed up correctly? I'm not so sure, but he doesn't look good here, and Chelsea potentially could be down to 10 men if De Santo can't continue. He can't run it off, he's an absolute passenger, and this could work in Burnley's favour. But here they come, Chelsea, played through the middle, offside against Lampard, who puts it in, but it won't count. It was classic Lampard playing the 1-2, and he motions towards the assistant on the far side, a wave of the finger, a wag to say no, I was onside there. That's a debatable one, and De Santo limps his way off the field down to this near side, and if he can't continue, Chelsea are going to be down to 10.
Well, what a bonus that is for Burnley. Obviously you don't want to see someone injured, but for Chelsea to go down to 10 men, you know, it really gives us the impetus to go forward and get the winner in this game. But just on that through ball there, Frank's waving his finger at the linesman, saying that he got it wrong, but I think if he looks at the replay, I think it was a good yard, maybe yard and a half offside there.
No, Di Santo is finished. He can't continue. He's heading down the touchline. And Burnley here are going to be up against 10 men, unless they can get him patched up inside the medical room downstairs and see what happens. This is a major problem for Phil Scolari, who's given it up, I think, basically. But Chelsea still playing the football here at the start of the first period of extra time, live on BBC Radio Lancashire. Rovers are through to the quarter-final of the Carling Cup, so too are Tottenham. But we still await news of who is going to be the 8th club to make it through. We know about United, Arsenal, Watford, Derby and Stoke. Will it be Chelsea or Burnley? Chelsea inside the penalty area now with Kalou, right-hand side, has to go really wide, cuts it back towards Malouda, turns onto his left foot, Malouda, then onto his right. He's got past 2 or 3 players inside the byline, 2 or 3 defenders hacking at the ball, and the man who emerges from that is Chris Eagles, who knocks it upfield towards the halfway line. Terrific stuff, Clark.
Yeah, it's excellent defending. Just like we've said, the whole match, the lads are getting bodies behind the ball, they're throwing the body in front of the ball so they can't get shots and crosses in, and Stephen Caldwell has just produced a captain's performance. He's led this side, he's held a fantastic line, he's controlled that line, and he's been more than ably assisted by Duffo. Just what a fantastic and complete defensive performance.
Don't forget, you can text in any thoughts if you're listening back home, if you're not among the 6,100 here. 07786 201 955 is the text number. As Wade Elliott looks to put pressure on Wayne Bridge on the halfway line. There's going to be another change here for Burnley. Who's that stripping off?
That's Kevin MacDonald, Big Mac.
MacDonald, yeah, another striker.
Chicken legend come on to run the midfield. Hopefully he's got a fantastic touch. He runs with the ball very well, and he's got that unseemly gait when he's running with the ball. It looks like he's not doing much, but he just coasts and drifts past players.
Alan Mann tries to run it through the centre of the field there in towards the centre circle, but then he loses out. Ivanovic will bring it forwards, the Serbian for Chelsea. Loses out though due to an excellent sliding tackle 30 yards from the Burnley goal by a Burnley defender. Might well have been Caldwell who got across there, and Burnley knock it out to this right-hand side. Good football from the Clarets. Alexander just needs an option. I just wonder, poor old Graham Alexander, this is going to take a lot out of him tonight, isn't it? Extra time against the Premier League leaders Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Let me tell you, Greza is a well-oiled machine. He looks after his body fantastically well. He's 37 years old, but who'd have thought it?
Eagles inside the penalty area, pulls it back. It's a good save by Alex. Kudachuni was also diving to his right, the goalkeeper, but it was Alex who made the block from the pull back. It was Eagles, I think, who had the shot right on the far side of the stadium. Difficult to see there. 41,000 inside Stamford Bridge tonight, and it remains Chelsea 1, Burnley 1. We're in the first period of stoppage time, or extra time rather, 6 minutes in.
It was an excellent move from Burnley, and it's what they've got to do now. They've got an extra man with Di Santo off the pitch. They came down this right side, there was nothing going, so they switched the play and exploited the space on the far side where Steve Jordan produced a fantastic ball in, but it was excellent defending.
Long range shot from Joey Goodjohnson, not quite got the radar right tonight. Nick and Shez in Earby say they think that they can do it tonight. Come on, you Clarets, come on the lads, they say. 07786 201 955. Jeff in Southport says, remember Tottenham all those years ago? And here is the third and final change. It's going to be Joey Goodjohnson.
Joey, yeah, that was Joey's last action of the game. He just produced a long-range effort, but he's put in a magnificent shift in the middle of the park. He's broken up attacks. He's been nicking the ball off the striker's feet while the defenders have been holding them up away from the goal, and he's been running box to box, producing passes. It's just a magnificent all-round performance from the team.
So Burnley have played their final card tonight, and they brought on a couple of players who've not really featured very much, but Owen Coyle, to be fair, has given some of the lads on the fringes of things a little taste of the action here at Stamford Bridge. And it's with Burnley who bring it forwards. Wade Elliott winning the ball there on the halfway line. 1-1 the score. And MacDonald it is, who's come into a midfield position. I'm going to ask you about penalties in just a second, Clark, because he might be able to give us a little bit of inside information here. Oh, we're not talking out of place and too soon here. Alex MacDonald down the line teenager, of course, Alex MacDonald still, isn't he?
Oh no, this is Kevin MacDonald. I think he is still a teenager, but he's the one signed from Dundee in the summer. And he's possessed of great ability on the ball.
Indeed, there are two MacDonalds, and it is Kevin MacDonald, the number 7, who's on the ball now, inside left channel, out to that far left-hand side. It's with Chris Eagles, plays the ball in left-footed, and Kudachini this time, the first time tonight, actually comes and gathers that cross safely.
He took that very well, and he looks like he's trying to play the ball out quickly.
Yeah, so it is Kevin MacDonald, not Alex MacDonald. Kevin MacDonald, of course, the former Dundee man, as you say, who has played quite a bit this season. A few injury problems for him as well, and he's playing in the centre of midfield. Big, tall central midfield player. Alex MacDonald, the other MacDonald, won't be on the field tonight. He's still on the bench, but his turn will come, I'm sure.
Definitely. Young Alex went away with the Scotland under-19 squad recently and set the place alight, let me tell you. He's definitely one to watch for the future.
Well, Burnley just need to put some passing together here, and still no sign of Di Santo. So it looks as though Chelsea are going to play out the game with 10 men. Here's Kalou finding Malouda. Basically those two up front now, and it's opening up here for Malouda inside the penalty area. They've got to be careful, Burnley, with the challenge, and it was Michael Duff, and Malouda slams the turf in frustration there at not getting the penalty, the decision that he wanted. But it was a clean tackle from the Northern Ireland international Michael Duff, and the correct decision by the referee Keith Stroud. 1-1 then here, 9 minutes played in the first period of extra time, live on BBC Radio Lancashire. All the drama of the Carling Cup 4th round, and Blackburn Rovers, of course, already through tonight, 2-1 winners at Sunderland. Tottenham beating Liverpool 4-2. Here's Mikel weaving his way down the far, the near left-hand near touchline, and looking to win a free kick. He's got the decision as well. And that was a tight call, but it's right in the corner flag.
That's a harsh decision, and this is a dangerous position here. I think the lads will be looking to treat this as a corner, but Frank Lampard's strolling across to take it, and you know that he whips in that ball that's at a dangerous height. You know, you have to get the first contact and make sure you don't head it towards your own goal, and if no one makes contact, it's in danger of slipping in the far post. So Brian Jensen's going to have to be very aware to make sure that this is defended properly.
Jensen on the goal line, waiting anxiously here as Lampard lines up the free kick. It's almost as good as a corner to our left-hand side. Lampard with the delivery in at the near post, and Jensen was diving to his right, but before he could get there, Alexander, showing all his experience, heads it behind anyway for a corner.
Yeah, the lads are going to have to call on all the experience they can muster. They've got the players like Stephen Caldwell, Graham Alexander, Alan Marn out there, Adi Akinbaye. They're going to have to dig deep into the reserves and bring the younger lads like Chris McCann and Kevin MacDonald through this.
Lampard with the delivery into the near post. It strikes the angle of bar and post and deflects behind. So it will be a goal kick. There was no Burnley touch on that, and it will be a goal kick. Let's bring you some more texts. Olivia Little, age 10, says, come on lads, please do it. Score another goal for me, she should be in bed.
I'd let my kids stay up to listen to this. This could be a very momentous occasion. Well, it is already, you know. The lads deserve all the accolades they get from here on in, because it's been a phenomenal performance.
Well, if there are a few missing children at school tomorrow, you might know that they've probably either been listening late or they've decided to come down to Chelsea tonight. There'll be some very tired people heading to work tomorrow morning, and Burnley could be in with a little piece of history here possibly. And you heard it first live on BBC Radio Lancashire. All the action, 11 minutes played in the first period of extra time. 1-1 the score. Adi Akinbaye equalising Didier Drogba's spectacular first half goal. That's Chelsea down to 10 men. Let's just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because Di Santo is off the field injured and won't return, I'm afraid, for Chelsea.
There's some very tired legs out there. Wade Elliott just stretching for the ball, and you know, gets up very gingerly afterwards. The lads are really going to have to dig deep into the reserves and call on all that pre-season training that they did.
Do you think Burnley might commit a few more men forwards here, though? Is it too risky at this stage? There's another 20 minutes to go. Well, with the extra man advantage, as it were.
They do have the extra man advantage, but this is a world-class Chelsea side, and with 10 men, that you know that they still have the quality to catch on the counter-attack. They're obviously full of confidence. They're still putting 2 men up front with Malouda and Kalou, so they feel that they can still take the game to Burnley. And it's funny how the roles have reversed as the match has gone on.
Well, Chelsea certainly outnumbered in midfield at the moment, with Akinbaye largely playing as a as a lone striker. Alan Mahon, of course, upside alongside Adi Akinbaye. So 1-1 the score here. A reminder that Tottenham are through tonight. They've beaten Liverpool 4-2, and more importantly, Blackburn Rovers are also through. They've beaten Sunderland by 2-1.
You know, extra time really is, it becomes a game of chess. You wonder whether you want to commit people forward and go for that goal, but leave yourself exposed at the back and susceptible to the counter-attack.
Just desperate to make this point that Chelsea have slipped up in recent seasons against the likes of Charlton and Huddersfield. Maybe not necessarily the last couple of years, but if you go back 5 or 6 years, they have had a habit of being knocked out by lesser sides, or lower division sides, not lesser sides, but lower division sides in this competition, Clark. So, you know, if Burnley do win, it won't be the first time that that's happened.
No, it
Chelsea.
won't be the first time, but with this current Chelsea squad, you know, that have been on a run of, 86 games, they went unbeaten, etc., etc. It really is a turn up for the books, for a lower league team to come here and more than match them and be deserving of a result.
Indeed, just a score is in itself a miracle here at Stamford Bridge, as they look to play it through the back of Burnley there and slip in Malouda, who throws his hands up in disbelief as it was intercepted, I think, by Colwell again there.
That one was by Duff that time. Malouda's disbelief is that there could be such a defensive lineup that have been so competent and assured throughout a whole match, getting on for over 100 minutes now. He's not been getting a sniff.
Eagles collects a loose ball, far left-hand side, into the penalty area. Might fall here to Alan Mahon, didn't control it properly, and that allows Chelsea to win it back. And that sense of anticipation whenever Lampard's in possession. Here he is, outnumbered in midfield, not very much on for him, has to turn around, but he makes it look so simple, doesn't he, Frank Lampard?
You know, you can see the players, the international players, the quality players, they always look like they've got so much time on the ball, and that's no accident. They make that time for themselves.
Lampard in towards the edge of the box again. It's Malouda, tracked all the way by Duff. Malouda's ball in, will pick out Kalou on the far side. Lampard completely misses it. As the ball reached him there, it was a chance to turn it goalward, and you would have thought somebody of his ability there might have at least hit the target. He's put it way over the crossbar, and there will be 1 minute of added time to be played at the end of the first period of extra time. Live on BBC Radio Lancashire, it's Chelsea 1, Burnley 1.
Have you ever known the Blues fans at Stamford Bridge be so quiet? It must be, 35,000 of them, and they're being outsung 10-1 by these magnificent claret and blue support down this shed end.
Well, there are 35,000 Chelsea fans inside here, but it's the 6,000 of Burnley that can outsing the home supporters at the moment. But I'm sure the volume will get turned up even more in the closing 15 minutes of the game as we possibly head towards penalties here. Laid off by Akinbaye. Mahon with a shot from the edge of the box, and it's into the gloves of Kudacini, who watched it all the way there. Either side of him, it would have been in.
Yeah, the shot was hit with terrific venom from Alan Mahon, and he does have the quality to produce a finish from that distance. He's done it all his career, and if he could just produce one now, oh, what a goal, and what a time to score a goal it'd be.
That is half-time in stoppage time here at Stamford Bridge, live on BBC Radio Lancashire. Chelsea 1, Burnley 1. It's a good save by Alex. Kudacini was also diving to his right, the goalkeeper, but it was Alex who made the block. I'm sure the volume will get turned up even more in the closing 15 minutes of the game as we possibly head towards penalties here. Laid off by Akinbaye. Mahon with a shot from the edge of the box, and it's into the gloves of Kudacini. And we're underway again in the second period of extra time. Noticeable that Owen Cole, the Clarets manager, went round to every single Clarets player while they were taking on water during that little mini break there to say, well, words spat at them really in broad Glaswegian. Come on, lads, we can do this. And now Eagles has got the ball away from Alex. Eagles inside the penalty area, cuts it back. It might well have been the hand sliding in there from Minero, who did very well to get back. The 33-year-old to slide in there on Eagles, who had all the time in the world to pick out a teammate possibly, and might have done a little bit better. Here he is again, left-hand side, finds... This is Kevin MacDonald, of course, the substitute, one of 3 changes. Chelsea down to 10 men, let's not forget, because De Santo went off injured, and Scolari, the manager, already made 3 allotted changes. And it's 1-1. Can Burnley apply consistent pressure and get something, what would be a miraculous result at Stamford Bridge in the Carling Cup? Shot from the edge of the box is with, well, it's Wade Elliott, and it's over the crossbar and behind the goal.
Well, it looked like Chris Eagles was through on goal there, but I think this is where the tired legs are going to tell. You know, he got to the ball and he was able to produce some sort of cross, but not the quality that you might have expected maybe in the first 15-20 minutes of a game. But what a recovery from Minero. He came out of nowhere to block that cross, and that's the dedication to the cause that's going to be necessary to win this game.
Clearance from Cudicini, who looked ropey first half and had 1 or 2 nervous moments in the second half of normal time, but he just seems to have settled a little bit, and it might well be, Clark, that Cudicini has the final say on proceedings tonight. We hope not, but if it does come to penalties, then he will be a key performer, obviously, for Chelsea tonight. Yeah, keepers are always the heroes when it comes to penalties. They're in a win-win situation. You know, they're not expected to save penalties. You know, if they go in, then there's nothing that can be helped. But if they save them, then they're quite rightly given the plaudits. Well, here is one man who certainly can take a penalty on the ball at the moment. That's Graham Alexander, more than 50 from the penalty spot during his career. Successfully converted on the halfway line, out wide to that right-hand side. But given away by Burnley, and then collected by Malouda just outside the centre circle, helps it forwards to Mikel. Burnley working hard to try and stop the shot here, and Mikel has to go all the way back to the halfway line, and Paulo Ferreira, the right back, finding Minero, and then all the way back and across into the centre circle to Alex, the Brazilian centre back, who's probably the third choice here after Carvalho, who's injured, of course, and John Terry, who was on the bench tonight but was deemed surplus to requirements by Luis Felipe Scolari, the manager. Mikel forwards now to Lampard, edge of the D. There's a player out wide here that they've got to close down Burnley. It's Ferreira with a chance to deliver a cross. It's a free header. It's up in the air over the crossbar from a Burnley head.
Michael Duff.
Michael Duff.
It's a fantastic defensive header. You know, it looked like Kalou was in there on goal to get on the end of Ferreira's cross, but Duffo got across the attacker and managed to head over from maybe 3 yards over his own bar, which is difficult, especially when you're tired.
Malouda will take this corner from the right-hand side, swung in left-footed, met at the near post by Alexander, who heads it back towards the corner taker, Malouda again, and the Frenchman, the Ivorian rather, will work it onto his right foot, drives it goalward, and it cannons off Alexander again. Talking about leading by example out there tonight, Alexander.
That's just it, you know, they're excellent examples. Him and Stephen Colwell between them have marshalled that defence superbly, and long may it continue.
Another corner though, they've got to keep it tight in front of the Matthew Harding stand here. Left-footed ball is flicked on at the near post, away up and up by Burnley. Chris McCann heads it clear, then an absolute shank by Frank Lampard, who then clatters late into Wade Elliott, and that might be a booking for Frank Lampard.
Phil, if this is not a booking, could you please talk me through that?
Well, it's one of those that, you know, is it a case of, well, Frank Lampard, he's Frank Lampard, he can't be booked therefore because he's famous.
Does that not just emphasise my point? You know, if that was myself against Sylvan Ebanks-Blake, there's nil hesitation.
Do I detect a hint of bitterness here?
Oh, no, I've let it go.
I'm only joking.
Soon.
Burnley advancing over halfway. Here's MacDonald now. Runs well here. MacDonald inside the penalty area, tries to lay it off. Shot comes in with the left foot from Marn. It's a really good tackle by Ferreira. Another cross from Burnley, flicked away by a Chelsea head. 3 Chelsea players go for the same ball. It might just drop to a Claret shirt inside the box, but it's now with Colwell. Colwell down the line to Eagles. Eagles always looking for the next touch, having controlled it already, and he's slipped it through now to McCann, towards the edge of the penalty area, left-hand side. McCann whips his foot round the ball, it's a high cross, but there's nobody there. And it's beyond Akinbaye, and Kudachini will bounce the ball twice in that orange shirt of his and bring it back in play for a goal kick.
Now that's exactly what I was trying to point out about Kevin McDonald before he came on, that he just seems to float past players. You know, he drops his shoulder very well and puts people off balance and can shift his feet and just glide through like they're not there.
Owen Coyle on the touchline having strong words there with Eagles and Akinbaye. The Chelsea bench is up on its feet there, including the likes of Ray Wilkins, because they thought that Chelsea should have had a throw-in on halfway. As it is, it's Burnley's throw-in, and it remains 1-1. 20 minutes played in extra time, and now Marn has worked it well to the left-hand side, into the penalty area. Might fall again to Akinbaye, picks out Marn. Marn just needs to drive it goalward, and it might be a chance. Headed clear by Lampard, and then a curious header from McCann is interesting as Burnley play it back in. Akinbaye with the header, and down goes Kudachini to his left-hand side to pounce on the ball. It nearly sneaked its way into the bottom corner there from Akinbaye.
That was a nice little period of sustained pressure there from the Clarets, and what was good to see was the composure in retrieving the ball. It wasn't just aimlessly pumped back into the Chelsea half. It was, they made sure that it was a pass to another Claret.
Well, Michael Duff has conceded a free kick at the other end as Chelsea broke forwards from that previous attack by Burnley, and defending required here from the Clarets. It's going to be Lampard to swing it goalward. It's quite wide-ish, up on the touchline almost. Don't think it's a direct threat from Lampard, but certainly he'll look to play it into the penalty area. And every single player is inside the Burnley half of the field here, with just Mineiro, the Brazilian, patrolling in the centre circle. Lampard strikes! And it just whistles past the near post, and Jensen watched it all the way, and there was hardly any movement from the big Dane, and I think had that been on target it might well have gone in.
Undoubtedly that would have gone in. That's where Frank Lampard is so dangerous from those positions. The quality of the ball that he puts in, it's almost impossible to defend against, because if you get a touch on it, it's in the back of your net. If you don't touch it and let the striker, it's in the back of your net. What do you do? It's a catch-22 situation.
Do you know what my big concern is right now?
What's that?
What time do the tubes finish tonight? Because after 12 o'clock I might be in trouble.
Last tube's usually about 1:30, Phil. I think you're very
on
safe
a Friday
there.
and Saturday. This is a Wednesday night, Clark.
Oh yeah, I'm not used to being out on a Wednesday.
No, of course you're not. It's 1-1 live on BBC Radio Lancashire. A chase here for Akinbaye in the corner. Out comes Kudachini. He's a long way off his goal line. Needs to connect properly, and he's hit it straight to Alan Marn. Alan Marn can catch the goalkeeper off his goal line. He was challenged right at the death there, and practically in the motion of kicking it goalward. Across came Mineiro, who's probably got better as the game's worn on, the Brazilian, and has protected his back four quite well, and got a very vital block in as Marn looked to loft the ball into the unguarded net from 45 yards.
Definitely, he's looked a lot more assured as the game's gone on, and has actually been intercepting these passes and making the tackles that the defensive midfielder is renowned for. That's what you've got him there for.
Throw into Chelsea level, the Burnley penalty area, played into the penalty area. Jensen stayed on his goal line, and Jordan just knocks it high into the lower tier of the main stand where we're situated.
You know, some people like cuss defenders for putting the ball out of play, but let me tell you, if you're in doubt, you get the ball in row's head, because it can't be in the back of your net from there. So that's excellent defending from Steve Jordan.
1-1 the score, and finally the Chelsea fans find their voice. Burnley fans still doing their bit away to our left, 6,000 of them in the shed end, looking for the fairy tale ending here, which at the moment, well, it might still arrive, but they're going to have to defend another corner to our right. One. Chelsea played short, they're not picking up here. Burnley, here's the cross towards the far post, it's beyond everybody, but it will be retrieved by Wayne Bridge, who of course played on Sunday. Bends a cross in delicately. Oh, what a miss on the goal line from Alex, the centre-back, who went at it with probably his wrong foot, and he has knocked the ball down. It's bounced up crossbar. Jensen completely stranded, didn't stand a prayer there, Brian Jensen, had Alex connected correctly. It's a real howler of a miss, and it remains 1-1.
What a phenomenal ball in from Wayne Bridge, you know. He's just put it on a plate for Alex. All he has to do is make firm contact and hit the target, but just goes to show that these superstars, they are fallible, you know. They're human beings, and when they get tired, they make mistakes. When you cut them, they bleed red blood.
25 minutes played precisely of extra time. 5 minutes to go, therefore. Here on BBC Red and Lancashire, Blackburn Rovers already through tonight. 2-1 winners at Sunderland. Tottenham also through. 4-2 winners over Liverpool. Burnley at 1-1, but they're having to defend. Malouda with the 10 men of Chelsea head towards the penalty area, and Colwell, was that Colwell?
It was.
And he's already been booked, Stephen Colwell. He's got to be careful.
Oh no,
referee.
Please don't referee.
Oh, he's going off.
Oh,
he's
Mr.
going off.
Stroudy.
Stephen Colwell is heading for an early bath, I'm afraid. 2 yellow cards make a red, and Colwell is sent off. 4 minutes to go of extra time. He knew what was coming there, and off he goes without much of a protest, to be fair to the Scotsman, who's got to hand his captain's armband to Graham Alexander, and we're down to 10 men each here in the closing minutes.
That's so harsh, because the skip's just tried to get a toe in, and Malouda's used his momentum to jump into him. There's no justice in the world, because he's put in a magnificent performance. Stephen Colwell is up there for man of the match in my estimation, and for him to not be on the pitch at the end of the game is such a terrible shame for him. I feel for him.
I think it probably was a booking, though, to be fair.
It was.
By the letter of the law, Clark, you've got to go for that. It was a blatant block on Malouda, who might have gone off for a second yellow card. So Colwell is off, sent off, 2 yellow cards. And Lampard is lining up the free kick. Let's hope that it's not double trouble here for Burnley. There's a 3-man wall at the near post. Lampard, the way shaping, I think he's going to go for goal directly here. There's a posse of players at the far post looking for the lofted effort in, the cross as it were, but I think he might try and bend this around the wall. Jensen standing to his left-hand side. There's a big gap there. It is struck straight at Jensen, and somehow he gathers the ball at the second attempt. Oh dear, that was heart-in-your-mouth moment time. Definitely. And he pounces on the ball, and he's limping as well, Brian Jensen, as he gets back on his feet. He's such a lovable character, isn't he? And he's done very well there, because that was struck firmly by Lampard.
Phil, I feel sick. I'm not sure I can watch anymore.
Jackie in Padiham says she feels sick as well. Thanks for the text, Jackie. 07786 201 955. We'll read out a few more if we manage to get to the end before penalties here. But we've still got 2.5 minutes of normal time in extra time to go. And the Clarets in Padiham say they can't cope with this. Well, we can't either, and we're here trying to describe it. Chelsea are putting some good moves together. Lampard strikes it cleanly. It deflected off a Burnley player, and now Owen Coyle's got some serious thinking to do. What does he do? Given away by Wade Elliott. They can't afford to do that late on here, Burnley. They might get their hearts broken if they're not careful. Laid off towards Mikel. Mikel shoots, and it's just wide of the target. And in fact, Jensen had it covered anyway.
He did, yeah. You know, Beast wasn't in a hurry there. He wasn't diving across his goal. I don't think he felt troubled by that. But we must reiterate the point that it's now actually 10 against 10, because De Santo went off and Chelsea have made all their 3 substitutions. So, you know, hopefully. Oh, come on, Burnley, please. Just 2 minutes, and then we'll leave it in the hands of the gods, because it is no less than you deserve, lads. You've been magnificent.
1-1 the score here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea in possession. Live on BBC Red and Lancashire. High crossfield pass out to this near side. Ferreira chests it down into the path of Alex, who might well have won it, but so too De Santo right at the end of the 90 minutes of regulation. Might well have done without the need for extra time. Here's Lampard again. He's popping up in some advanced positions on the edge of the Burnley penalty area, and again Alexander. He's like a Rottweiler nibbling away at your ankles. He just got the ball away there, didn't he? Under pressure as well.
Excellent defending. He stayed on his feet. Frank was twisting and turning, but Greza kept his eye on the ball, came away with it, and produced an accurate pass into the channel, try and kill a few more seconds.
Desperately tense moments these for the Burnley fans. They were very quiet away to our left. Oh, free kick conceded by Burnley. Was that Stephen Jordan?
It's Michael Duff there, protesting his innocence, because Frank Lampard had hold of Duffo's shirt while he was turning.
So free kick here to Chelsea. It's a good distance out, but it's in a very central position, and Lampard has put down 1 or 2 markers already since coming on as a substitute. and might just be finding his scoring range. In fact, he's going to leave it here possibly to Alex with that hammerjack of a right boot.
Yeah,
the
he
big
might be able
centre-back.
to redeem himself here for that earlier miss, but this is like watching a movie. I'm just watching the clock slowly tick down. It's taken an age to get to that 30-minute.
Alex strikes it through the wall, over
Get
the top
over.
of the crossbar and into the back of the stand. It's like a Quentin Tarantino movie. I tell you what, it's like Brief Encounter. It's heartbreaking, this. 1 minute of added time to go, right at the end of extra time. 1 minute for Burnley to hang on here. 10-10, or get a goal even. 10 players against 10. The Burnley fans are jumping up and down. They're doing the old A's behind the goal. They think this might be in the bag here. Liz in Stockport, meanwhile, has texted in. I support Man City, but my boyfriend's a mad Burnley fan, and even I feel sick. Love you, Simon, she says. Well, I think that sums up a lot of feeling out there. Behind the goal to our left-hand side, the shed end is bouncing up and down. The whistles are from the Burnley fans. They want penalties. Clark, do you want penalties?
I would take penalties over a losing goal. I'd take a winning goal over anything right now.
Burnley win it back up to Akinbaye. Akinbaye needs to make sure he doesn't give it away here, and sensibly plays it back to Jordan, who fires it down the line. This is a good burst from Kevin MacDonald, the final one of the three substitutes. Misses out though, but then puts pressure on, and Burnley have got to throw in deep in Chelsea territory here. Quick text, biting my nails down. I'm starting on my wife's nails, said Jeff in Southport, as the final whistle goes, and we will be heading to penalties. It's finished 1-1 here at the end of extra time.
I'm delighted and I'm distraught in the same breath. You know, I think the performance from the boys has warranted, you know, a place in the next round. It's a shame that it's not the FA Cup, and we could have brought them back to the turf to have a pop at them there. But now we're in the laps of the gods to see what happens in this game. But no matter what the outcome, anybody who owns a Burnley shirt should wear it tomorrow with pride, because these lads have stood up tall, stood up proud today, and they've earned this result.
We've been competing with Chelsea for an hour and 20 minutes, and there was only penalties to do now. So even though we were still not under pressure, because even though that we were going to penalties and we were not finished yet, we still have achieved a great big thing.
I was a little bit angry at the time because I wanted to stay in the tunnel and watch the end of the game, as you can imagine, with being captain and stuff, and they were adamant that I had to leave the field and go into the changing room where the game wasn't on the television. So, you know, they came to a compromise with me and let me sneak up to the press box, and I sat up there and watched it for the press box.
All I can remember is getting to the 120th minute. See, they've both teams down to 10 by that stage, and they played the liquidator, and it just sort of settled my nerves anyway. I just remember nodding my head. Clark Carlisle was in the stand doing the radio commentary behind me, and we were nodding away, and just a feeling that no matter what happens, it doesn't matter. Burnley are heroes. The pressure's off. Just no nerves whatsoever going into the penalty shootout.
I was just more nerve-wracking. Actually, stood on the sidelines, and I'd prefer to have took one, if being honest. But you know, we've always, I think Bry's never lost a penalty shootout, so we were always happy with Bry in goal that he'd do the business.
The thing that the gaffer said just beforehand is that, you know, make sure that you don't change your mind. Just make sure you want to put the pen, make a decision even before you go to the ball, because Brian's going to save at least two.
All I sort of said to a couple of lads was just make sure you walk all the way up there. Don't jog up there and rush it. Wait till the ref's blown his whistle, but you don't have to take it then. You can still wait a couple of seconds to compose yourself. Just take it in your own time, and just don't change your mind.
I think we've got every chance here. You know, the lads are very confident. It's not like we practice penalties religiously, but we always have a competition every now and again. You know, maybe once, twice a week. And when Greza starts us off, I have every faith. Every faith.
We're about to start actually. Who do you fancy?
What? Who do I fancy? Are you for real, guys? Grezza, Alan Mahon, Chris Eagles and Kevin MacDonald.
Okay, we shall see. We shall see. Graham Alexander steps up. They've lost the toss of Burnley, so it's going to be at the Matthew Harding end. And he puts it into the top of the net. Kudacini dived to his left-hand side, but it struck the underside of the crossbar from Alexander, who seldom misses from the penalty spot. He's been prolific down his long career, of course, from 12 yards, and that is a good start for Burnley. They lead 1-0.
I would put my house on Grezza to score penalties. You know, he does practice religiously at the training ground. Every Friday or Monday, you know, the day before a game, he's there slotting 10, 15, 20 penalties, and he can put them on a sixpence.
Frank Lampard steps forwards for Chelsea at the Matthew Harding end of Stamford Bridge. Brian Jensen in grey bounces up and down, trying to put off, flapping his hands now, Brian Jensen. Lampard is not full though, and he puts it into the bottom right-hand corner and then runs in and collects the football. 1-1.
Wow, I just don't know where to look. I don't know. A bit like, was it Nicky earlier who came in on the text, I've got no fingernails left. Come on, Burnley, you can do this. Just need to dig deep and concentrate.
Alan Mahon is the next player to come forwards, the second half substitute, who's rarely figured this season for Burnley due to injury, but we know he's got a very sweet left foot on him. Kudacini must look big from that kind of range. 12 yards out. Alan Mahon at 1-1 to strike the penalty left-footed into the corner, near side. Excellent penalty, great technique.
What a fantastic penalty. Any penalty that hits the inside netting, keeper has got little or no chance unless he preempts the direction, you know, and goes before you strike the ball. That's a fantastic penalty from Alan.
Owen Coyle, the manager, all his coaching staff, all with arms around each other on the touchline, and then on the other side of the halfway line, all the Chelsea coaching staff, and we've got the Burnley fans away in the far side, in the distance to our left-hand side. It's going to be Wayne Bridge to take the next penalty. 2-1 to Burnley. You've got to take 5, of course. Bridge will... Yes! Saved by Brian Jensen. It was struck right down the middle, and 6,000 Burnley fans jumped to my left-hand side in celebration, and Jensen it is who walked casually away, who might well be the saviour tonight. He's got a record of saving penalties as Brian Jensen, and Wayne Bridge forlornly makes his way back towards the halfway line. It's 2-1 to Burnley.
What a fantastic save. The Beast, such a magnificent presence between the sticks. Come on, Chris Eagles.
Eagles to take the next penalty against Kudacini. Chips it over him into the top right-hand corner, and Burnley have scored all 3 of their penalties. Chelsea just the one from Frank Lampard.
That kid was a bargain, I'm telling you, an absolute bargain. Look at the composure. He didn't strike it with venom. He just placed it high up above the keeper's dive. Oh, despairing Kudacini, despairing.
Well, it's going to be Salomon Kalou, who's played the entire game, to take this right-footed steps forwards and into the opposite corner. So Chelsea still very much in it. Salomon Kalou scores a penalty, and Burnley lead by 3 penalties to 2.
Equally composed, just like we were saying, any penalty that hits the inside netting, keeper has little or no chance of getting there.
Do you think the players will have volunteered for this, Clark?
Definitely,
or will they have been handpicked?
You know, I think we're one of very few squads where you'll get more than 5 volunteers for penalties. I myself would have been one, not that I think the fans would have wanted me to take one.
Kevin MacDonald will be the next to run the gauntlet here in front of the Chelsea fans to our right-hand side. Looks a little bit nervous, Kevin MacDonald, and he's having to re-spot the ball.
He's
referee, Panickety, Mr. Stroud, let him get on with it. Long run up here, right from the edge of the penalty area. Runs forwards, into the corner, and Burnley are just one away here from making it through. Great penalty from Kevin MacDonald. So that's 4 penalties to Chelsea's 2 as they make their way forwards from the back. It looks like Paulo Ferreira, a defender, a fullback who's rarely featured this season for Chelsea, to take this next penalty. Brian Jensen saved the previous one. Can he do likewise here and put the impossible in contention for Burnley? So 4 penalties to the 1, 4 penalties to 2. Steps forwards into the roof of the net. It's a very well taken penalty by Ferreira. And it is 4-3 to Burnley.
Come on, Wade Elliott. This is Burnley FC's Player of the Year for the past 2 seasons running, and with very good reason. Wade is probably one of our most consistent performers that I've seen since I've been at the club, and if he slots this home, oh, Wade, I love you.
Wade Elliott on the brink here of something truly, truly special against the Premier League leaders. Wade Elliott has a long look at it. He's got to strike the penalty cleanly against Cudicini. Oh, and a crossbar! Oh, Wade Elliott's put it over. He let the tension get to him. And they've been let off the hook here, Chelsea. And it is the Chelsea fans' turn to celebrate. And the Burnley fans to our left, very, very quiet and pensive.
They still have to score. They still have to score.
It's 4 penalties to 3, so they still got to score, and it's going to be Florent Malouda to take this penalty. He's got to score, of course, because 5 penalties have been taken for Burnley, so Florent Malouda here has got to score. Brian Jensen waits on his goal line. Could this be the moment for Burnley? It's right down the middle, and we're at level. 4 penalties each, and we go to sudden death. Clark Carlisle.
Sudden death. This is so. Michael Duff has stepped forward from the crowd. I don't know if there are too many people volunteering at this point now that it's down to sudden death, but Duffo, such a giant of a man, a magnificent, strong performer. I've got every faith in him nestling this one in the bottom corner.
Sudden death time then, live on BBC Radio Lancashire. It is 10:30 and we're still playing here at Stamford Bridge in the Carling Cup. Somebody's going to be heartbroken. Let's hope that it's not Burnley.
He's going to smash this.
Michael Duff has stepped forwards. Credit to him, and he smashes it down the middle of the goal.
He always told me all week, if I have to take a penalty, I'm smashing it straight down the middle. And that's exactly what he's done. Well done, Duffo.
So 5-4 in Burnley's favour. And the next victim, I think that's the correct word to use in this circumstance. He's stepping forwards for Chelsea. We'll get a look at his shirt number in just a second.
It's John Obi Mikel.
John Obi Mikel, the number 12.
I'm not sure the people at home understand how much pressure is on a penalty taker. All eyes are on them.
The Chelsea fans behind the goal looking to suck this in. Jensen will save it! Oh, Burnley have done it! Onto the field they go! The fairy tale has come off, and Burnley have beaten the Premier League leaders on penalties. 6,000 fans in utter ecstasy away to my left-hand side. Burnley are through to the quarter-finals. They have beaten the mighty Chelsea here at Stamford Bridge on penalties. Wonderful save from Brian Jensen. The fairy tale is complete, and Burnley have done it. Their first win at Stamford Bridge since 1971. Well done, Burnley.
In the last 25 years, it's quite simply the greatest night I've had watching Burnley Football Club. I've seen them win at Wembley, I've seen them win titles, winning playoff finals, beat Premier League sides in cups, but to go to Chelsea, who at the time were absolutely impenetrable at Stamford Bridge, and not only play, people say maybe, it was a weakened side, but they still had, Terry was there on the bench, Lampard played, your Decos, Drogba's. It was a top side that were beating most sides in the Premier League.
I think that put us on the map really. After that game, I think everybody just stood up and took notice of Burnley. I don't think many people would have known where the place was before we played them, but it made everybody stand up and take notice of what a good team we are, the way we can beat anybody on their day. So
we knew they hadn't been beat for a while at Stamford Bridge, so to go there, Championship club, go there and deserve to win was a real big bonus, and I think it's shown this season. It's stood us in good stead for the season.
Biggest result, shock really that I've been involved in, because I've obviously played a few years now, but for how much we were the underdogs that night to win was a fantastic achievement, and it was the biggest club result up to that date. Yeah.
When Brian saved the last penalty, I just put my head down and thought, right, one penalty, one more, and we've done it. And I looked up and the players were off and they were running towards Brian, and I've got Clark Carlisle clambering over the press box at the side of me to get on the pitch, and I'm thinking, what's happening? Just give it. Wait a minute. I just had this vision we had to score another penalty, and it took about 20 seconds to realise that we'd done it.
I hadn't realised we'd won, and I was stood there on the centre circle on my own, like a bit of a wally, so I didn't know whether to sort of chase the rest of the lads and catch them up. And I saw the Chelsea lads and went and shook a few hands and tried to act a bit cool, but no, that was just a massive sense of relief. Thankfully the lads bailed me out.
What John Terry did after the game was, he came in and threw a few shirts at the lads and said, you know, well done, you deserved it, and you know, we believed him, and I think we did deserve to go through.
What a player. What a player, you know, came in and wished all the best, and I think he gave about 4 shirts away. Wished us all the best. Frank Lampard as well, you know, what a character. It just shows you what a true professional he is.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people, maybe myself included, you know, outside looking in at Chelsea and you think, oh, they're a little bit big time, they're a little bit this. Couldn't be any further from the truth. Like you said, John Terry came in, congratulated everyone, said how well we played, gave people shirts. To be fair, Drogba did the same with me, came in after the game. Like I said, he wasn't there at the end of the game. He came in and said, there's my shirt. Like Frank Lampard, I was waiting to do an interview in the tunnel half an hour after the game, and as he walked past, he could have quite easily put his head down and walked past, but he stopped, shook my hand and said, well played, you deserved it. So, you know, sometimes goes to show that not everything's what it seems.
The actual night itself was brilliant, but better than that, believe it or not, was when we went back to the hotel, because as a group, I mean, they stayed in. I think this sums up the spirit in our group. Stevie Thompson was cup tied from 3 minutes, I think, at the start of the season at Cardiff. And we came back to the hotel, and the lads came into the bar, and I said, then we come, we'll have a drink together, though I'm teetotal, but some of them certainly weren't. But anyway, they were enjoying a beer or two, and Stevie Thompson went up to his room, appears 5 minutes later with his guitar, and goes through his full set for 2 hours.
We had a few beers, and lads would chat. Steve Thompson got his guitar out, and we had a few songs, and no, it was just one of them nights that you remember for the rest of your life.